start. All right. Let's see here. I think we're good. I think we're live. I can't always tell. Live. All right. Roll it. Roll it, chat. Thank you, Evil Trev. You were swift. Cheers.
Thank you very much, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Uncharted X
on YouTube.
Uncharted X is a great channel.
He gets deep into this stuff, Joe.
I'm sure he does. His YouTube channel is incredible.
Thank you, Tracy. You've got sharp eyes and beautiful earlobes.
You guys are awesome. Thank you very much.
I don't waste my time.
That could be Fourth Dynasty, Dennis.
Safety always off.
I didn't stab the kid. But I tell you what, I wanted to afterwards.
I'm in Egypt.
Randall here with us. What's up, Randall?
What's up? Well, it's the exact reverse of the vectoral summation of all terrestrial gravitational forces.
Well, what's wrong with the dog?
Simple. He's been licking his asshole for the last 3 straight hours. I submit to you that there's nothing there worth more than an hour's attention. And I should think that whatever he is attempting to dislodge is either gone for good or there to stay.
Wow.
That belongs in a museum.
And you've been to Giza?
No, I've never been to Giza.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I'm a scientist. I'm a scientist.
It's unchartedx.com, okay?
What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back. Yes, indeed, it has been a while. Seems like an age since the last stream. It has been an age since the last stream. Hello. You guys are all in here quickly. Thank you so much for the immediate support. It's much, much appreciated. Let me just do this thing. There we go. Dan! You guys come in so fast with everything. Dan and Evil Trev, thank you so much for the tier 1. Well, Crooker, Evil Trev, thank you so much for the tier 1. Dan with the tier 3 subs. Guys, thanks so much for jumping in here and hit me up with that. I very much appreciate it. And Dan, thank you so much for the gifted subs as well, man. You're off to a flying start. Much appreciated, guys. Good to see everybody. Missed you guys. Missed kind of hanging out and doing this stuff. But yeah, it's been a month, man. It's been a busy month. What can I say? Been all over the goddamn place. Certainly not at home. Thought you forgot how to stream. Well, wasn't in a place to stream. Really wasn't in any place to stream. I didn't stream from Egypt this time. I don't know. God, it's just, I kind of made the decision not to stream on the sites just because you kind of, I'm there for the participants in the tour and it's kind of distracting. We'll see if that continues to be the case. I don't know, but I didn't quite have the setup I wanted to stream either. I wanted something that was stabilized to make it work, and I just couldn't quite get. I tried a few things, and while I could have probably made it work, it would have made a huge rig running around on these sites. It would have been a little interesting, but didn't happen this time anyway. So, art for me, Super Tedstar, all fired up. Evil Trev, everybody in there in the chat. Human Launchpad. Oh, thanks, man. It's good to see you guys all as well. Yusuf's good, man. He was fired up. He was happy to get in there and get it all done, So, let's see. We got. I'm gonna turn that off. I am also live on the YouTubes, although nobody's in there right now, so we may just cancel that whole YouTube thing in a minute, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, man, it was a busy trip. It was, so, let's see. I streamed before I left for the Scablands. So we drove off at, was it like 13, 14 hours to drive up there? And we had to detour to Spokane to pick up the van, pick up all the people, Randall included. Actually, most funny enough, the first week that van filled up. We had like 10 people landing in Spokane, so we drove everyone to the resort in the Scablands. So I was driving vans for a week. Busy times, man. I was exhausted for a lot of that, and then I was there for the second week, although not driving vans, but I was Frosty Canadian. Welcome. Second, I did a lot of filming of Randall, so we may look at some of that today. I also did a lot of voice recording of Randall. Oh, I kind of fucked up at the end of it when I might have deleted a few of the voice files inadvertently. But it's no biggie because I think we're going to do it again next year. And yeah, I get home anyway, so I can't see you live on YouTube. On the Uncharted X Live channel. Is it Uncharted X Live? It should be live. Let's have a look. If I do a little refresh. It doesn't actually say live, huh? How do I fix that? Because, yeah, it's got nobody in here. Let's see. Edit. Is there a way to... Sorry, guys. Let me just look at this real quick. There is no link to it is the problem. No notification on YouTube's? Yeah, oops about... Well, so I was copying them across from the SD card, and I thought it had finished copying, so I went to empty the SD card, and it it just went, uh-oh. All those files you were trying to copy, there's a bunch of them that didn't.
And you've been to Giza, though?
No, I've never been to Giza.
Oh, dear.
Heyo, missed y'all.
Workomatic, Sit 'em Crow. Missed you too, man. Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub, dude. Appreciate it. Let's see. Customization. Monetization. Let's turn that on, I guess. On. Save.
And you've been to Giza, though?
No, I've never
Ancient
been
Sanctum.
to Giza.
Oh, dear.
Welcome, Ancient Sanctum. Thank you so much again for the this sub. Ganji, what's up, dude? Let me, I'm trying to figure this out on the YouTubes. Why is this not? Create highlight video, add stream marker, share. Oh, here we go. Share. Alright, I'm going to pop here's the video. I'm going to pop it in the Discord real quick. We'll keep chatting. We'll get into it here in a minute. Here's the link. Alright, that should show it. I don't know. It doesn't give a notification.
What money? Somebody's gonna send me money? Oh boy!
Ancient Sanctum 1 gifted a tier 1 sub to Andy _479.
Casper.
They
Thanks.
have given 132 gift subs in the channel.
What
Thank you,
money?
Tracy.
Somebody's gonna send me money?
You've
Oh
got sharp
boy!
eyes,
Ancient
beautiful.
Sanctum 1 gifted a tier 1 sub to
Yellow.
Frosty
Alright, well, that's
Canadian
not what we
Bud.
want, is it?
They have given
Private.
133 gift subs in the
Public.
channel.
Done. Save. Whoops. Whoops. It was private. Fixed now. Alright. There we go. Alright, now we're on. Okay. God damn. 133? What's 133? What's 133, man? Alright, now the chat seems to be up and running. Alright, cool. Ancient Sanctum, thanks so much for the gifted subs again. Alright, so it just popped up. Alright, cool. No worries. Crooker over there in the YouTubes. Thanks, man. Hello. Can't wait for all the content to come. There's a fair bit. I've got a lot. We've got a lot to talk about. Actually found out some interesting shit on this trip. So let me start looking at that. But I guess, God damn it, I'm still trying to settle in. So yeah, anyway, so let me finish the story about what I was doing. ITG, what's up, man? Stickman.
What money? Somebody's gonna send me money? Oh
Ancient
boy!
Sanctum again.
Ancient
thank you.
Sanctum 1 gifted a tier 1 sub to Stickm 4 and Stussy. They have given 134 gift subs in the channel.
Oh, you're at it again, are you?
What money? Somebody's gonna send me money? Oh boy!
Ancient Sanctum 1 gifted
Thank you,
a tier
Ancient
1
Sanctum.
sub to
Again.
GanjiQC
Many
_. They have given 135
Thank you
gift
so
subs
much.
in the channel.
Again.
Thank you
Thank
very,
you very much, sir.
You're a gentleman and a
Appreciate it.
scholar.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys. But anyway, so yeah, we did the Scablands.
What
Second
money?
week
Somebody's
was...
gonna send me money? Oh boy!
Dan QLD
Dan
House
said
gifted
it.
a tier
I thought I
1
was
sub
pressing
to it.
that.
Wow, really? They have given 141
41
gift
gifted
subs in the
man.
channel.
Cheers, thanks, Dan.
What money? Somebody's gonna send me money? Oh
Oh
boy!
my God, Crook is now going off. All right, it's not reading all those out, but you gave 5 gifted subs from Crooker. Thank you so much, man. I will give you one of these.
Thank
for
you
that.
very much, sir.
You guys are
You're a gentleman and a
making it
scholar.
hard to get some words out here, but thank you so much, Crook, for the 5 gifted, man. You guys are way too kind. Thank you. But yeah, so anyway, second week of the Scablands was... We had a couple days off in between. Not really. I never had a day off because it's like the exit day. I had to drive people to Spokane and back, and we picked up Randall's family, his wife and his son. So it's like a, what is that? Like a 5 hour round trip. And then on the day off, Brad made these plans, and we went out to this beautiful spot, but it was like, another probably 6 hours of driving. And then we rolled right into the start of the next day. Although thankfully I didn't have to do any runs to the airport for that, but I did do something on that last day. But anyway, so yeah, when we wrapped that up, and I'm like, shit, do I have to drive the van back to Spokane to drop people off? And thankfully, we hustled around, and on the one day I took Randall shopping to get some shit, and I had to take Graham from the Grimerica show down to the rental car place to get him added to the contract so he could drive the van. And we got all that done, and then him and Brad did the van drop off, so Brad followed him and picked him up. But that allowed us to drive home, so we got up at like 4:30. I've had a lot of early starts recently. We got up at 4:30, get in the car, we're driving by 5, trying to get home. So we did like it's 12 or 13 hours to get home, straight shot. I had the dog with us as well. Stream Element spot running, cool. Yeah, it was a long day, you know. And we got home, and then I had 2 nights here, 2 nights at home before I had to basically drive off that afternoon to go catch the flight to Egypt. So then 2 nights at home, and then I got home from Egypt, not yesterday, but the day before, the night before. So, and that was such a long. I mean, it's always just a long day, that travel. Of course, my flight leaves at Egypt at 7 a.m. in Cairo time, which means you're getting up at 2:30. Leave by 3. That's just the way they run it. You always want to have 4 hours to like basically get to the airport, and you end up waiting around for fucking hours every time. It's so annoying that they do that, but that's just the way that the shuttles and the logistics companies work. They're like just to not to get you fucked around with. Although holy shit, we will get into footage here and everything. We'll check it all out. I've got a couple little travel stories though. Like, I had such a stressful time at the airport. Now, there's all these there's traps at the airport, right? They try to grab the porters, the red shirt guys at the Cairo airport, always try to take your bag, and you don't let them. Because they'll try and take you through, here's the secret, here's the end x-ray machine that no one's at, and we'll special one, then he's like, give me money. They're always just like, you got something for me, right? And you tell them, no, I don't have any money. And then they're like, I'll take American, I'll take European, I'll take whatever money you got. And the worst thing you can do is open your wallet, and they're like, I'll just take that, and sometimes they even try and grab it. So it's just annoying, because they're like, you're a tourist leaving the country. You can't really get them into trouble. You just want to get to your flight, and they just take advantage of that. Anyway, so I'm like, fuck off, dude. Like, I've been here before. Like, leave me alone. I don't, you didn't do anything. I literally put the bag on the conveyor belt to scan it, and he's asking me for money. Like, fuck off. And anyway, so you go through that security, then you go in, you get your ticket. You go through another security, same damn thing, but this time you're without your check. You've checked in. So I've got my backpack and my little shoulder bag. My backpack's got my, laptop, cameras, all my memory cards, all my shit in there. And I was the last one through this particular machine. I was tired. Thank you so much for the 100 biddies, mate. Cheers. What's under the Sphinx? Well, man, I'll take Bitcoin, some of them. Yeah, it's better than Anal Search. Had planned to use your Prime sub. You can't double sub, huh? Well, if you've used it somewhere else, not until next month, mate, but no worries. I appreciate it. I look well rested and rejuvenated. What about that? We'll get to that. It's only been like a day and a half since I got home. Although I have been sleeping, just perhaps not at the right times, but we'll see. Anyway, so I'm at the last one through this last station with the scanning. You go through the machine. Egypt always gives you the pat down too. The guy always pats you down. I get my shoulder bag, standing there waiting. Like, I got no backpack, and I stand there waiting for probably a minute. And the guy behind the thing looks at me and goes, what? Like, what do you want? And I'm like, my fucking backpack. He's like, what? There's nothing here. There's no backpack. I'm like, what? And he sort of points at my back. That bag. I'm like, a backpack, dude. Like a big backpack. And I'm like, it's not, where the hell's my backpack? Like, it's got that. I've got money in it and all this shit. And it's just, I'm looking around. And he goes, well, did you put it on this machine over there? I'm like, no. I know. I'm not stupid. Like, I put it in the machine. I was the last. But I put it on a bit that rolls, and I sort of walk through. I didn't really watch it go all the way in the machine, which is normally what you do. But I was wondering, did somebody come up behind me and sort of snatch it when I walked through the thing? And I'm like, what the fuck? So these guys are up and sort of wandering around and looking around. And I'm saying, put some boxes through. It's in the machine. I went to look in the machine. He's like, no, don't touch the machine. And I was like, well, put some boxes through it to see if there's anything there. And they're like, there's nothing in there. And then they're like, going on and walking around. There's a couple more guys come over. I'm like, where the fuck's my bag? I'm starting to get like freaking out at this point. I'm like, what the hell? And I said, can I come back through to look? And he's like, yeah, come back through. So I walk back through the machine on the other side now. I'm like, where the fuck's this? And I'm looking around, and somebody grabbed this and taken it. And finally, we're doing this for a couple minutes, and I'm increasingly like, oh God, somebody's stolen my backpack with all my shit in it. All, everything basically from the trip. All the good shit that you want to carry with you, it's all there. And And I'm like, what the fuck? And eventually I'm like, put these bloody boxes through it. And so they grab a couple of boxes, put in, and sure enough, it's like, it won't go in there. Like, and they're talking to each other like, oh, it won't go in. Push your fucking hand in there and turn it. So my back was stuck in the machine, but it wasn't near the detector and I couldn't see it. I'm like, holy fuck. Anyway, but it's just not what you need it, you know, on no sleep at the beginning of like a long journey home. And anyway, so I got to go through, put all my shit through again, go through, get another pat down. I'm like, I didn't pick up any knives over here while I was... Anyway, so I did it, but Jesus Christ, it scared the living crap out of me.
And you've been to Giza, though?
No, I've never been to Giza.
Oh, dear.
Will I be putting this stream on YouTube later? About to watch... I'm not able to watch now. JL on YouTube. It might stay up on this channel, on the YouTube channel, for a little bit, but probably I will... It's going to stay up on Twitch. Like, I leave it up as a VOD on Twitch for how long it stays up for, a month or something. But I may leave it up on... it depends what we get into. I may leave it up on YouTube for a bit or not, but for sure it's going to be on Twitch. So if I miss it... And this is like prep for a YouTube stream. We're going to go into stuff here and start prepping for a YouTube stream to like go through some of the highlights and some of the things that I want to talk about. Alan, cheers. Barry, Anne, how are you, Anne? Good to see you. Yeah, so we'll get into that. But anyway, so right, so finally get my bag, get my shit together, and you know, catch the flight. I didn't sleep much at all. It's, you know, what is it, like a 5-hour flight to London from Cairo. Couple hour layover, stuff some food in me. Get on the long place, 11 hours or 10 and a half hours back to San Francisco, and then I've got like a 3-hour drive in shitty traffic where I nearly ran into like twice. And I was just dangerously... And I landed at 5 or 6 and getting home about 8 or 9.
Somebody's gonna send me money.
Holy crap. What did you do? What did you do?
I'm a scientist.
10 gifted subs. Workmatic. Sit down, Crom. Thank you so much, man. That is...
Thank you very much, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
That is very kind of you. Thank you so much for the 10 gifted, mate. It's very much appreciated. Cheers. Thanks. So anyway, I get home eventually. The flights were fine. A380, the long way home. Finally, I got to that point, you know, when you're dangerously tired, you realize you're like, your eyes are grainy, and you're like, this is not good. You're having trouble focusing a little bit. Like, I got there, it was fine, but yeah, passed out, and then I sort of passed out last night as well, and I was up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock today, so slowly getting back to schedule. So that's it, and I've been home a couple of days. I'm here for 3 weeks. It's going to be a great 3 weeks, going to feel good, and then I'm back to Egypt again for like 3 more weeks, because we're sticking around for a bit there. So, alright. Sorry for the crappy music when I'm trying to keep under the YouTube copyright infringement radar, so I'll turn that down just a hair as well. It's because it's kind of lame music. No more Sedona trip, no. Yeah, I was going to go to speak at the Sedona conference, but it got cancelled. Holy 40 minutes of sleep for you, you hear me? Yeah. True. So, yes, Relzor, thank you. I'm not going to Sedona now. That trip that got cancelled when we were in the Scablands, although it may still happen online. I'm not sure yet. I've got to look at that and talk to that guy about it. Give my presentation, which I think you guys have seen a lot of the slides. At least I did that on stream. I did do that presentation on the trip. We finally found some time. We finished at like midnight. It was crazy. One of the last nights in the thing. The presentation, it's like the, you know, evidence for ancient high technology. The big picture story, kind of like why it's important. I'm still shaping it, but I've got like 140 goddamn slides. And I need to figure out how to whittle that down a bit. But alright, let's let me press a button here and we'll shift over. We'll start looking at stuff and I'll run you through it all.
I'm a scientist.
Here we go.
I'm a scientist.
Ancient Sanctum 1
Ancient
gifted
Sanctum.
Frosty Canadian Butter subscription. Ancient Sanctum 1 gifted a tier 1 sub to Frosty Canadian Bud. They have given 133 gift subs in the channel.
I'm a scientist.
Here we go.
I'm a scientist.
Ancient Sanctum 1 gifted Stick'em 4.
Alright. I think it's catching up to a couple. So I'm not seeing that in the chat, but thank you, Ancient Sanctum. Alright, let's take a look. Here we go. Let's get into it. So yeah, this was the trip. We had like I got sick too. I'd say this. I got sick on. I haven't looked at any of this, by the way. Like, so we're gonna go like completely raw. I may have flicked through it on my phone. I haven't looked at the pictures from my what? Yes, I do. Save. Oh shit! I put it in here. Why'd you put it in here? Fine, whatever. You're so hungover. What's new? I'll unmute them now. Hopefully it's settled down a bit. Okay. Big Bad Matters.
What money? Somebody's gonna send me money? Oh boy!
Big Bad Matters just resubscribed
Thank you very much,
for 9
sir.
months.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Big Bad Matters, thank you so much for the 9 months. Much appreciated. So yeah, everyone got sick on this trip. It was a really good group. I should show you a picture of the group if I can. I know I took some pictures, some group pictures here. Where were we? Abu Sir. We definitely got a group picture in at Abu Sir. It was maybe down here. There we go. Yeah, a couple group pics. There we go. There we go. Yeah, this was the group. Good times. Youssef. Some really cool people. Some returning people. Where's Joe? Joe here was the guy in the back, the tall guy in the back. Here in the green shirt was Joe's from Louisiana, who was also with us in Peru last year. A lot of people that this is like Christian and Maddie were in the Scablands. These are great guys. Mark was here with Mark doing the old rabbit ears on Maddie. Here was here on this trip last year with us as well. THC climbed the Great Pyramid in 2019. Just babbling. You climbed it in 2019? How much did you pay? And how did you do it? Interested to know. We did get up to some shenanigans on this trip, just a few. Maybe we'll get into that when we get into this. So, great group. So we kicked it off at Giza. So early day, I arrived kind of like a day before we start, or it's a day before, and then, this is the arrival day. People, we start with like a you got 23k channel points, and all I'm gonna do is highlight this message. Sorry, Bo. I'll have to figure out something about those things. If I end up playing games, we'll try and do the channel bets and the predictions. I don't know if that shit works. I don't know how it works. 18 beers yesterday, Dan. Jesus. Yeah, I don't know what to do with channel points. Somebody needs to tell me what the fuck we can do with those, because I don't have a clue. All right, let's just go through it, because I want to talk about a few things here. So we just went back with Giza. I grabbed a couple guys. I think Joe and Tiffany were there as well, and we just went for a stroll around Giza with Yusuf. Always nice, just a couple of us. And of course, one of my favorite structures of all time is the Valley Temple. So one of the things that I immediately got into. God, this music is just terrible. Please stop. This is like little anime chicky music. It's just horrible. This is apparently a YouTube no copyright something or other. Well, anyway. So there's one thing I kind of got pointed out to me in this, and that I want to make a little video about. I'm trying to make a short video about it. Is Old Kingdom architecture, right? So this is supposedly 4th Dynasty, yeah. So limestone core. You can see the size of the blocks, right? These limestone blocks, the rough stuff in the middle. This is all limestone, massive blocks. Like these are, probably up to 100 tons, maybe some of them around there, a little bit more, cased in granite. Huge architecture, but it happens at the same time as a lot of other Old Kingdom architecture that's up here on CH Partney. Howdy. Windsor, Paddy. Scablands presentation was great, Paddy. Thanks. Egypt produces. I didn't bring back much oil. Sapnin? Not much sapnin, man. Just catching up. We're looking at shit. And I can already tell that my camera lens is dirty, which is going to be an ongoing theme, I suspect, seeing as this is the first photo I took. But there's lots of examples of Old Kingdom architecture. For example, this wall back here, right over here, just above my my head on the screen, also Old Kingdom architecture, apparently from the same phase. So there's a real, what would you call it, a dichotomy, a paradox here. Whereas the mainstream explanation for this megalithic architecture, one of the reasons they say, well, they built it this way because they wanted to not fall down during earthquakes. Is there something in chat? I will. I'll do that. Alright, done. You have the power, Crooker. It's crappy music in the background, yo. Well, let's turn it down a bit. I can barely hear it now. I can turn it down a bit here for you guys a bit more. There we go. That's fine. You go back to Egypt. This is Egypt. You go back again. This is Egypt #1. This is like last 2 weeks. Well, so yeah, this was supposedly a harbour at the front. Probably was, and in fact, you know, I took a picture of it later too. You can kind of see it way in the corner over here. This little dot right there, right? Just little pipe sticking up. And this is where there was a drill. They drilled down here like 120 or 30 feet, and they hit granite, which is obviously it's a limestone, you know, plateau. You shouldn't find granite at 130 feet down here. So it means there's something built and constructed under the ground here as well. But my point being is that they say that a lot of this megalithic architecture, this big stuff, the orthodox explanation for it is, well, they did it that way because they didn't want it to fall down in an earthquake. Now, look at this shit over here behind it on the left. It didn't fall down in an earthquake either. Like, it's still there. It's supposedly the same age. And there's such a vast difference in building technique here. And if you can build this out of these blocks and it not fall down in an earthquake, then you can build this structure out of that size building blocks as well. There's no reason to go to this much trouble. There's just this big difference between things that are all termed as Old Kingdom architecture, whereas I think this is actually Old Kingdom architecture over here, and this stuff is probably vastly more ancient. And also the erosional features don't match at all. Like this seems so much more weathered and eroded than all this other stuff that is verifiably Old Kingdom from the same period. And in fact, the thing that kind of blows my mind when you think about this structure is it's vastly weathered, and these are the inside stones. And then it was weathered, and then it was cased in granite. And neither of these things were really within the toolbox for the ancient Egyptians, the dynastic Egyptians. So who knows how old this is? You could be looking at two distinct separate civilizations, or two vastly distant periods of building from one civilization. Yeah. Then this structure here on the right. So here's the Valley Temple, right? It kind of ends here. You go in here. There's an alcove here. This structure in here is what's called the Sphinx Temple. And I've never been in here. And I don't know if Yusuf ever has either. But maybe we're getting in here soon. So we'll see. We'll see. So here's the little, see that little tin can thing looking thing here? That's actually like it's a core drill. So it's a tube. This is where they did that drill test, or Hawass actually did it. I quoted it in one of the books, in one of my videos. I think the Middle Pyramid Complex. Yeah, Sphinx's head. Yeah, here we go. Get a little closer, right? So I like this. You sort of see the scale of everything. By the way, me and Yusuf on the last trip here last year found what we think is the biggest block of limestone on the plateau, like one of the biggest sort of shaped blocks. And I'll get there in a minute. W. Jansen. We had a couple Jansens on this trip. You're going in a month? Good stuff, man. Caisson. This place was a museum more than once, possibly. Yeah, granite blocks on the inside too. Yeah, well, so it was cased, right? So it's cased in granite. So all of this was cased, and then on the inside was also cased. So it's like you're sandwiching these limestone blocks in granite. Just a little closer look as you walk around the side here. You have these the cornice blocks, I guess you'd call it. And I think I got right up to them. Yeah, these things are amazing. So these are some of the real challenging, let's say challenging pieces of stonework, right? For this stuff. These are blocks that I'm fascinated by. I haven't talked much about them, but you kind of get these angles on these things, and they made these. They would have run all across the top of the building. There's only a few of those left. Darth Tater. That is a cool name. Just insane blocks, and there's like 3 or 4 of them left on the plateau. There's one here, there's one to the left, there's or to the right, and then there's one down the end near the Sphinx Temple, and then there's one of them, or maybe 2 pieces of one block up at the other end of the causeway. There's another piece of one here. I just love some of these angles, you know. I was trying to capture this rounded angle here, which I think I did. Just see how fucking clean it is. And you run your hand over this, there's just no deviation, you know. This is perfect sort of stuff. Yeah, I'm really impressed with these blocks. I want to talk about them in my... I'm going to do another part of the... I need to do my part 2 of the middle pyramid complex video. And we'll do it there. Yep. I don't know what I was photographing there. So, this is the spalling effect you see on a lot of the granite here. Where the surface is flaked off. Now, this takes obviously a long time. You're seeing tool marks? Where are you seeing... on the wall? Or on this? There's no tool marks on this. I mean, there's quarry marks. So what's interesting about this is, so these indentations on these walls, this is where the granite blocks were fit. So all of these little squares you see on this thing, this is all to like lock in the granite blocks. So they're all at different depths, and they all were shaped to fit both the erosion, and I guess they must have worked on this somehow to squeeze these in here. Although I don't know, because you kind of get the erosion in these cavities too. It's not like... Yeah, it's hard to say. It's like these are the shapes where the granite blocks were in, and maybe it's just eroded behind the granite. I don't know. Yeah, it would have looked crazy. Sticky? Yeah, go to the Serapeum. Wow, the drained and excavated labyrinth. So the interesting story about the labyrinth is I did get in touch with, I think it's Louis de Cordier, the guy who ran the Matterhorn expedition. At least, so there's he started up on Instagram again. There's a Labyrinth of Egypt Instagram account that we had a French guy on the trip with us that told me about it, and I followed them back and then left a comment. They got back in touch with me straight away. So I'm kind of talking with... I'd love to chat with Louis if that's him. It would be a good interview to do to talk about the labyrinth and get it out there again and sort of get into the details of what's at the labyrinth, because he's still lobbying to get that project started. Brian Forrester posted a video showing the 1250 in those curved granite blocks. Where? Because they're not on Giza. I don't know where they are. It'd be interesting to know where they are. On the fine curved block, I'm not seeing any tool marks. It's been quarried down this way, right? So it's been quarried. This is not a original split. There's no real tool marks on it. It's smooth and polished. Hatarumiok, Coricancha, Saxay, now important within the city of Cusco. No time to go to Sacred Valley. Well, yeah, there's the stuff in the streets, which I think you've covered. There's like 2 different spots in the streets. Saxay Waman, what's around? What else is around? You could go to... in Cusco, if you just like a day, you're going to have trouble fitting it in, but you could also go to the Temple of the Moon. You could go to, what's it fucking called? There's another place up around the top of Cusco, Kenko. Quenko, or something like that, Kenkos. He's poking through a metal gate, and they're lined up along the ground. Maybe that's in the Sphinx Temple. Yeah, I haven't been in there, but I'm looking to get in there. What's the flaking? I think it's erosion. So it's like this stuff. Where is it? Yeah. So you see this on a lot of it. It's like surface spalling. It's erosion. It's time. Like it's just the moisture content eventually coming out of the stone and cracking the surface. You see this in a lot of places. And then in other spots, you still have most of the surface is cracked off like this. There's in a couple of places in the valley. I always point it out to people. Like there's a few patches of like the original polish. And it's literally like this much difference. There's like a sizable, like not quite a full centimeter, but close, of material that's flaked off from where the original surface was. And you can touch that stuff and feel how beautifully smooth and perfect it was. And that's what's flaked off it. There's the diorite block that's in the walls inside, the big green trapezoidal block that most people know. That's not lost its surface at all. So, and it's at a higher layer. If you look at it side on, it actually sticks out a bit. But it didn't originally, like you can see where the original surface of the wall is. You think it is a Sphinx Temple? Probably is. Yeah, I'm working on getting in there. So again, you go around. This is the Valley Temple still here. You see these big blocks of limestone in the ground. Some of it's bedrock. You've got mud brick, and then you've got all this Old Kingdom architecture. Look at this, all over the place here, right? All these blocks. This isn't modern. This is Old Kingdom work. Supposedly all at the same time as the Valley Temple, and none of it looks anywhere near as eroded. It's limestone, same shit. Very, very odd. Very hard to say that it's the same time period, but that's what they say. And oh yeah, so the other thing, this place was fucking heaving with tourists. Like Egypt is back on, baby. Like Egypt is going on and going off. Did you explore the hole in the Sphinx's backside? Not a joke. There is a hole back there. Yeah, there's a grate. Doesn't really go anywhere from what I can tell. And no, we didn't get into the Sphinx enclosure on this trip, but we will be going down in there on the next trip in November here. So I'll probably take a look, but they won't let you go in there. You have to. I'm sure we'll try, but I don't think it's going to happen. Did you explore the best object to see first in the Cairo Museum? Can't wait. God, there's so much to see in there. I don't really know what the best thing to see first is. I tell you what, if you walk straight in through the door and you walk straight down into the main area with all the big displays, the very first box you see right in the middle has a whole collection, just a collection of drill holes in it. On the lip of the box, there's all these little drill holes in these cavities. I've shown the photos of them a bunch of times. It's right in front of you straight away. There's so much to see in that museum. So, just curious. I have not been to Mexico City. I have not been to Teotihuacan. It's one of those places I've got to get to. So again, just massive blocks of limestone, extreme erosion that you see, contrasted with Old Kingdom architecture. So this is also interesting, looking at the wall of the Sphinx enclosure. So here's the Sphinx enclosure, right? This is the door you come out and you get walked this way. This block here, there's a U-shaped channeled granite block, and the block above it's the only block of quartzite in the whole structure. So you've got a granite block here, plenty of granite obviously, but this channeled U-shaped block, so there's infrastructure, and this. And, you know, this is, I'm fascinated by this topic. Like, the more I've got into this, the more I've found this all over Old Kingdom sites, underneath the ground. So this evidently connected up into this system. Now, this block is fairly high up, like when you're walking along, like it's up above your head. And inside, it's too high, you can't even see it. It's way above your head on the inside of the structure. So, maybe more than 2 great builder periods separated by a long time. I think that's the case too. There's a lot of... That's strange. Skipped your message but put in the finishing emote. What was that? Did I miss something? What was the message? Sorry. Read out your message. Sup, homie? Spicy? This wall, this is the back of the Sphinx Valley Temple. Yeah, very interesting little spot. Only block of quartzite and, yeah, this channeled U-shaped block, which we'll see some more of in a bit. Said the Sphinx should have farted Zahi out when he climbed in there. Farted must be a bad word.
Shit on you!
Indeed. Oh, fart, is that what it was? Okay. Boroscope that channel? No, it goes through, I think. Yeah, no one in authority will even mention this is true. And again, you see these indentations where all the granite was fit to the outside of this. Sharded. So if you look left, like, so this is to the right here of this picture, but looking left over here, this is what's called the Wall of the Crow. This is a modern cemetery. Yusuf's dad, Hakim El Ayawan, is buried in the cemetery. But on the other side of this, near that Wall of the Crow, is where the supposed tombs of the workers were. So this was where, Zahi claims that we found the tombs of the workers. We found the people that built the pyramids, and all they needed was beer and blankets, and they were happy. This is apparently where he found these tombs. So they're opening this up. There was a special permission. Now it's just an extra ticket. I'm led to believe it's only 300 Egyptian. Oh yeah, the fucking... Whatever's happening in the world economy today has totally screwed Egypt over. Like, it's now, I think it's like 20 Egyptian pounds for $1. It's fucking the surging, like the US dollar's getting strong everywhere in the world, right? So it's just surging relative to everything else, and it's really screwing up a lot of these countries like Egypt. Everything's got like 20% more expensive for these people. It's very difficult for them. So yeah, shit's all over the place. And I would expect in the next couple of years to see some huge price rises in Egypt, so it may be even more expensive to get there. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but yeah, it's been tough on them. Plus, they're like one of the world's biggest net importers of wheat, so the whole Ukraine thing's hit them hard too. But anyway, so this tomb of the workers supposedly that's over here. I was talking to a couple of people about it, and the funny thing is that you don't hear this. Zahi and these guys don't mention it, but the earliest king that they can find mentioned anywhere in this tombs of the workers who built the pyramids is 5th dynasty. 5th dynasty. So remember, all the pyramids were supposedly 4th dynasty. But there's no mention of any kings. Khufu, Khafre, Menkaure, all those dudes. None of them. It's 5th dynasty. So it's bullshit. It's just bullshit. So here's a good example. So compare this to this. This is Old Kingdom stonework, right? Same thing. How is this Wall of the Crow? I'm not sure why it's called that. I don't know. But yeah, this should be called Wall of the Pigeons, because the bloody things are everywhere. So yeah, again, this is like one of the things I want to talk about is like, look at this relative to that. How can you say it's the same? Like, even from an erosion, like this looks old and it's been eroded, but it's nothing like this. And even more so, you see the erosion when we go up the hill too. The temple. I mean the mortuary temple. King Khufu, no Khafre on mines. So yeah, this is one of those contradictions that I'm like, this. You say this is the same architecture, the same people. Doesn't seem like it. There's Yusuf. There's the man. Drinking his tea that he got from one of the dudes on the side. So yeah, and there's lots of these are Old Kingdom tombs. So again, we know what Old Kingdom tombs look like, and their drawing and their decoration and all the rest of it, and you just don't see that in the pyramids, which we'll get into. That's some interesting times in the pyramids this time as well. So we pushed around to sort of to the left. Go over to a place called Kent Cowis, and where the supposed second sphinx is, which it's not a second sphinx. Ding, ding, ding.
T Hatter Sichard X10, just joking, I love yours content less than 3.
Thanks for the 10 biddies. His steel guts. He just has the biome to deal with it, Just all this stuff. I like these days because we don't do the main stuff on these early days. We just we'd go around and you poke around in all the little nooks and crannies that most people don't ever look at. So we went into the Ra-Wer temples again too. So you guys remember I did a video about Old Kingdom recycling, and this is the same thing here. This is that temple that we filmed it once before. So it's a 4th dynasty, perhaps almost 5th dynasty tomb from a priest or a vizier named Ra-Wer, who was, I think, around in the time of Shepskaef, who was, I think, end of the 4th dynasty. All of the trash. 2005 Honda Civic, thank you. Everything you've ever put forward is so irrefutably logical. I try to remain logical. Sticky V, wondering if I ever have tried to get in touch with someone who knows something about what the Cairo Museum has in their storage. Maybe via Yusuf or someone else. No, and I don't know. He doesn't know either. I'm very hopeful that they will take all of that shit out of storage and put it on display in the new museum, because my God, it's huge. And hopefully, touch wood, it's open next month and we'll get to see. So this is a recycled white calcite or alabaster column base, and it's been converted into an offering table in a funerary hall for Ra-Wer. And you can actually see how it had a column on it, because you can see the calcite buildup, the salt crystal buildup of where that column once stood. You see this line here? So it's just telling you that there was a column standing on this thing for a very long time, and it's been converted into a offering table. And even the Egyptian Egyptologist who discovered this said this is extremely odd shape for a dynastic offering table. Normally those are in the shape of hoteps, and it's like this, but it's quite clearly a recycled column base. This is the Shepska F cartouche that's on one of the walls. And here's another one. This is where the proof really sits in. This is the same thing, right? It's a recycled column base that's been cut and flattened out, and then they've carved in this image, this depiction of Ra-Wer, the priest. Right. So this is Old Kingdom. So, you know, even in the earliest parts of the civilization, you've got guys recycling what must have been already ancient column bases made from alabaster and repurposing them as offering tables. And this is not the normal offering table shape. It's quite clearly a column base that's been cut. And Ra-Wer's been put on it. So, and then some modern jackasses put some shit on it too. Might there have been a symbolic importance to using a column base as an offering table? The column is very symbolic. No, I don't think so, because it's very rare. Like, it's very odd to see it as a... Good night, Ancient Sanctum. Are you out already? Did I miss it? Where'd you say that? Gonna have to watch the rest of your adventure tomorrow. Finally got that 40-minute video out. 10-hour days, fitting in research for next video among physio appointments, sleep time. Okay. Good night, Ancient Sanctum. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for the support. You jumped in and helped out. I appreciate it a lot. I have not looked at your video yet, but I've hardly had a minute to scratch myself, so... Yes, thank you for the subs. Cut with what, though? Well, it's alabaster. It's soft. You can cut this with whatever. You could grind through this with a lot of stuff. You could certainly cut it with flint very easily. Like, alabaster's not very hard. But it's definitely one of the megalithic materials. So mostly these sites you have... I mean, it's alabaster or white calcite, right? Same thing. But you have granite, basalt, limestone, sometimes diorite, but not as much. But those are the three big ones, and then alabaster or white calcite. And for sure, this was used by the builder cultures, and then it was also heavily used by dynastic Egyptians, but not particularly hard to work, you know. And look, you can still cut granite with flint. Like, you know, you can work away at it and make it happen. And enough time and effort, and they could definitely do this. There's no problem. Like, you shouldn't underestimate what the dynastic Egyptians were capable of. But is the old one still open then? What's that? Yeah, the old one's staying open. Yeah, the old museum's staying open. Someone on Instagram the other day said new museum is delayed again till... I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised. We're doing a Zoom call for everybody coming to that trip soon here, but, you know, it is what it is. They've been saying it's going to be open for the last 2 years. But fucking COVID, right? Saw blob. That U-shaped block and all the ones surrounding the pyramids, have you considered trying to map them? They fill in the gaps potentially in 3D. That would be cool. I haven't considered it. I can tell you where they all are, though. I kind of know where most of them are. I know there's some in the Sphinx Temple, so I'm really hoping to get into the Sphinx Temple. We'll see if we can. Yeah. Anyway, I find this whole area to be extremely convincing evidence for, like, the fact that some of this stuff is already vastly ancient and being recycled. Again, so on this trip too, I was really focused on photographing stuff that, because in previous trips you photograph the really megalithic, interesting stuff. On this trip, I kind of wanted to be able to more highlight the variety, the two industries. I've really got this idea in my head about these two industries of, you know, stuff that's explainable with a primitive tool set. Then there's the advanced stuff, and I've been photographing, investigating the advanced stuff. But I want to be able to highlight it more and more with the non or less, you know, the more primitive stuff like this, which is still extremely good work, right? This is mortarless limestone blocks. You can literally see the chisel marks on it, though, like the adze marks and the hammer marks, the dressing. And again, this is Old Kingdom, same time as the Valley Temple, same time as the pyramids, same sort of thing. Again, not as heavily weathered. Well, so, you know, it's funny, Evil Trev. The reason the museum openings keeps getting delayed is because they're not done reshaping, changing stuff to fit the narrative. What's interesting is there's a couple, so small diversion here. There is a bit of truth behind that, I think. Two reasons. One is that Well, two examples is probably a better term. One is that they have removed. So we noticed, Yusuf and I have noticed recently that they've been removing all of the vases with shitty inscriptions. So they did this at the Saqqara Museum, which I'll get to because there's no longer a Saqqara Museum, and they're doing it in the Egyptian Museum. So they're taking away the vases with the really poor inscriptions, and the only ones they're leaving are the ones with reasonable inscriptions, even though they're still poor relative to the object itself. So why are you doing that, you know? Why are you taking away the vases with the obviously shit inscriptions? It's just, now you're hiding, it's literally hiding evidence that would go against their narrative. It's a very dishonest thing to do. Fortunately, I've got lots of photographs of them, and they're also well documented in the old books, like Jean-Philippe Loyer's book when he, excavated the Step Pyramid and all the rest of it. And the other thing is that they fucking just up and closed the Saqqara Museum. There's a little museum on site at Saqqara, and if you watch that video, I think I covered it briefly in I don't know if I did it in the giant statues video or not, but certainly in the footage beneath the Step Pyramid video I talked about it. But that's the museum where they talk about all the vases being inherited heirlooms from the 1st and 2nd dynasty. So they've closed that museum altogether for whatever reason, for renovation. The floor collapsed, but the floor's been collapsed for years. Like there's something underneath it. Of course, there's tombs and spaces underneath it, so the floor fell down a few feet. They kind of temporarily fixed it, and it's been that way for a few years, but then they up and closed it pretty soon after I put that video out. And I'd be interested to see if they keep that display up where they talk about, the vase construction before and after Imhotep. I really think it's a smoking gun. To me, the vases is the clearest case of two industries happening in Egypt, but these ones have a very definitive separation in time. There's stuff before the 3rd dynasty or towards the end of the 3rd dynasty, and then there's stuff after the 3rd dynasty. Now, everything before that 4th dynasty and before Imhotep, they're made from all the types of stones in Egypt, the very hardest of stones, the rarest types of stones, lapis lazuli stuff. So it's suggestive of a global quarrying system. You have extremely advanced technology in the construction of these vases. Very poor writing on most of them. An incredible precision in this work. And then after that period, you have all these vases basically just being made from alabaster, stuff that doesn't show any of the same precision or technology that you see in the ones prior. And that's what happens afterwards. It's like this. It's this tale of two industries. Now you see a tale of two industries across lots of different types of artifacts and categories of stuff. You see it in architecture in the pyramids. You see it in the boxes. You see it in the columns. You see it in the statues. So, and you can compare and contrast. And I do this in this slide. My presentation sort of shows this, that you have this tale of two industries. But in a lot of cases, your timelines get mixed up, because there's writing on these fucking things. So the writing on them sort of suggests that, well, some of the boxes came really late, and some of the statues came much later, even though they match the things that are supposedly from the 4th and early Old Kingdom periods. Because the only reason we're dating them like that is because somebody wrote on them, and the writing's shit compared to the object. My whole presentation is sort of debunking the idea that writing's the way to date and relate these objects, and then looking at the tale of two industries across Egypt in different categories of artifacts and architecture. But the vases are clear because there is a definite distinction and line in time. You can't really say that these vases are in later periods. There's a couple of exceptions. There's a big vase that they say came from the 26th dynasty, but guess why? Because it has some really shitty hieroglyphs written on it. So, but it's and then nothing in that 1st and 2nd dynasty where they say, well, they made all these vases, the schist disc, all this stuff. None of it matches the other architecture and tombs. They just never had that capability. Obvious. And then some of these objects, of course, also go back into prehistory. Or they find those stone vases at pre-dynastic sites, the Archaic Age, the basically Neolithic Stone Age, Jaden. Yeah, we're getting into that. We're getting into that in this live stream. That's exactly what we're doing, man. all the things that I think is important and different that I hadn't known about before. That's what I'm trying to highlight now. Doesn't sound like they're about to fess up to the differences. No, they're not. No, not yet. Damages historical significance of ancient Egyptian culture. The shift to a pre-dynastic build of gods reduces them to nomadic squatters. Not so much. I don't think it reduces them to nomadic squatters at all. I think it's... Look, that's... You can't underestimate what they did. And a lot of the statues they made, I mean, they did incredible work. The Egyptians, dynastic Egyptians, did amazing work, and they're far more than nomadic squatters. And you also have to remember, like, their technology and their capability evolved over time. Like, some of the stuff they did in the New Kingdom's fucking amazing. And, you know, they had a lot of resources and money and capability. But some of the stuff is just is outside of their technological reach. And that's a blur. It's difficult. At some places, it's kind of a blurry, you know, the lines are a bit blurry. It's hard to tell in some cases. It really is. Now, I've said this before, though. I think the only stuff you can be really definitive about, at least for me, this is how I work. I can be definitive about stuff that's outside of their technological reach when I see the machining marks. So this is polishing marks, saw cuts, tube drills, the stuff that indicates power tools, overcuts. Right, machining. It's my evidence for ancient high-tech video series. Basically, it's machining, it's precision. So this is that perfect symmetry and complex compound curve surfaces, or the linear symmetry we see in some of the boxes, like that sort of stuff. The perfect geometry of these things in shapes relative to each other. And then I just think there's a logistical aspect to the really big stuff. Like, I would basically go anything above about 350, 400 tons is outside of the reach of these guys to move significant distances and do that. Now, if it doesn't have any of those categories, or it hasn't been measured, which is the case for a lot of statues, for example, it's very hard to tell. Could it have been done by some very talented artists in the New Kingdom? Potentially. You can't kind of underestimate their capability. They were amazing at stuff. But it's much clearer in places like South America, for example. Like in Peru, you had the Inca civilization that only really existed at their 150 years. And the difference in their stonework versus the megalithic stuff is chalk and cheese. It's night and day. Versus Egypt, it's much more subtle because they were there for more than 3,000 years, you know? So... Thank you, Honda Civic. I know the Nazis claimed that. Well, Nazis might have had a few things right, I guess. Don't quote me. Like in that case, they had some. They didn't. I mean, I don't know the root of like all the Nazism focus on the occult and history and all that shit. I don't know how much truth there is to all of that. Maybe to some, but I think a lot of people over time have suggested that some of this shit's older. So this is like. They've been blocking up passages so people can't get into places. This is modern. You know, just more Old Kingdom tombs we were poking around in. See, some of these gates too, this is what's amazing is that...
Sitinfo cheered X100. Boy, I missed your streams. Loving this.
Good, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So this is at Kent Cowas. So some of the granite blocks at Kent Cowas. You can see the dashed quarrying lines where they were trying to quarry stuff. And you see how old this is? Wait till you see some of these images, man. Like, they have sealed up doorways and literally closed stuff. And it's sand has basically just filled up these spaces now. I guess there's a chance the real builders could have showed up for 20 years during the New Kingdom period. I don't think so, but that would be... Unless they're, like, visiting aliens or something, but let's not go there. I don't think that's what we're talking about. I've seen some schematics of the plateau. They say had a river harbour dug all the way up to the pyramid. No. The pyramid's way higher than the valley. The whole valley temple would be completely underwater. We have good furniture manufacturers. We have IKEA furniture. Yeah, right. Yeah, I know what you mean. So I've been inside this structure. So this is this is going around the side of what they would call the second Sphinx, which it's not. It's obviously not. Like this is the one angle that people show you when they say, "Oh, look, it's a second Sphinx." It's because it kind of looks like a head pointing over here, kind of a body, right? It looks completely like this goes off to the right. Like this is literally attached to bedrock at this height of its head all the way over to the right. Like there's a reason why you only ever see it from this angle when people claim that it's a second Sphinx. It's not. It's so obviously not when you walk around it and you look at it. So yeah, this is its head, right? This is what a head would be looking at you, but it just goes this way. Like it's not the head of a Sphinx. Thanks, Crooks. And I just thought this picture was a cool angle on this thing. So over near another quarry site. So this was also a quarry area. You see where they've dug out the blocks, but it's all Old Kingdom. Quarrying area. So now you get into some of this other area. It's really interesting where you start to see some of the heavily weathered bedrock that suggests that some of this could have originally been quite old. And this is around this area where this old Egyptologist hut was. So see this door, like it's buried. Like see how it used to, the door goes down here, but it's now buried in sand. There's so many of these things where they just welded these doors shut and they close them up. Like this building. This is now a relic. This is more than 100 years old, this building on the left. This is an old archaeologist's hut. You see this shit? Like this. Look at this. How long do you reckon that door's been shut? You know? Fuck. You see this shit everywhere in this area. Like the sand is literally reclaiming all of these sites rapidly. In fact, this whole building used to just back up to a wall here. And they had their own private entrance into whatever they were working on in here 100 years ago. And all these doors have been shut forever. And there's so many of these examples. I didn't take photos of all of them, but you see this all over the place in this area where these doors have been shut a long time ago. And then you've got, like, what, 30, 40 years of sand accumulation? It's nuts. The blocks over the boat pit. So what was interesting too is they've moved the boathouse now. So on that, you can now get around and observe the whole north side of the pyramid, which you could south side of the pyramid, that you could is it not? I think it's south side of the pyramid. Yeah, south. That you could never ever get into before. You couldn't see it. They had the big boathouse here, but they now moved all that to the museum. So this is this whole boat pit used to be inside the museum, inside the boathouse. So now this is out in the open. You can see this well-made pit that they had this disassembled boat put into. Okay, I probably have some videos. Let's just look at a couple of videos here. Is this going to play if I do this? No. All right, this is going to take forever if I go this slow for all these days. Like a long ass time. Let's have a look. Oh wow, is this really the first day? Are you sure, Benny? Must have been 10.6. So 10.5. Let's get through these photos first, then we'll come to the videos at the end. Man, I haven't gone very far here, have I? So I just want to show you some saw cuts. Like we were just poking around the basalt plateau to the east, or the basalt pavement to the east. Blifton, Watcher. Is this Watcher? Snake Bros Watcher? Boat pit or mega saw pit? Ask Chris Dunn. Yeah, I don't know. I posted a good Chris Dunn presentation in my Discord just now. Picked up a fifth of vodka. Holy shit. So you can see like saw cuts into the sides of the basalt. So this is all changing too, man. You give it another couple of years and you won't be able to look at any of this anymore. Mark Lane is doing this, by the way. He's cementing over all of these. They're cementing over all this evidence. They're literally mortaring the stones together and they're cementing over all this shit. They're covering it all up. You can see the striations here, right? Again, another like saw cuts. Just literally see the striations on the from saw cuts. So what's interesting too about this would be another topic that I want to talk about, is that you'd think that this would be the initial surface and then this would be the finished surface, this rough shit here. But look closely. You see this? This is actually the higher surface. Right? This is the finished surface, this here. So wherever this was done in the quarry or the initial shaping of these blocks, this is how they would shape the blocks. And then they would do this to them. And this is done because mostly these saw cuts where you see them are all on the sides of the blocks where they were mating the surfaces. And if you have smooth surfaces, they're slippy. But when you rough it up like this, you have a lot more friction between them, so they can't move. Yeah. And if you look closely, you can see that the nice finished surface on the left is actually the higher surface. And then that they roughed it up after that to finish it like this. Pretty crazy. You can actually see how it runs down. The liquid runs down into this area. Another nice little plunge cut there. 2 of them. They went neat, neat. And on the bottom too. See that? The closer you look at this, I spent a bunch of time crawling over this pavement and just finding a lot of these saw cuts that I hadn't seen before. Do you have any opinion on why the biggest roadblock to safer progress? It's definitely the reluctance to investigate that. I'd say that it's 100%. It's the reluctance to investigate by the mainstream, by the people that have the power and the permissions and the money to do these things. Like, it's not that hard, you know. We should go out and do latex molds of all the drill holes. We need to look at all the rest of the drill cores. We need to investigate the saw cuts. We need to map out the precision on these and define these things with high definition LiDAR scanning on all these objects, and we could do it, and none of it's invasive, you know. None of it's invasive, and we could answer a lot of these unknown questions. But I honestly think that they're too afraid of the implications of what it would mean. Jesus Christ, there always has to be someone. Beat you to it. Some spam in the YouTube chat. Latex molds would be good to have. It's just, I mean, yeah. Here's a rougher tool, like something that's just hammering through. Right. Obviously, this might be a quarrying tool. Right. That's not any fucking pounding stone mark or anything. You know. I don't know if it's, you know, I honestly, the mystery would only stir up more interest in it. If they admitted some more mystery, it's not going to hurt their, the tourism. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, you have this entire industry. I was trying to explain this. When people first realize this, you go to Egypt and you realize, all right. So it's nice with, you think they already know the answer to, I think they suspect the answer to those questions. I don't know if they know them, but I think they certainly suspect them. And, there's an entire, you're right in one sense, Dan, in that the tourism model supports the standard model, right? It's you have to have a licensed tour guide with you on these tours, who is obligated by law essentially to tell you the orthodox story. Now, luckily, with Yusuf, at least in the Cairo area, that's his nephew. Hakeem he's a tour guide. He doesn't say much. I mean, he knows his story. He just listens to Yusuf. Lets Yusuf do the talking. But that's the first time we used him was this last trip. It was great. But mostly you have to have like an actual Egyptologist going to give you the story. And, you know, that's the whole infrastructure set up behind this one particular story. And obviously the actual people in power and the academics are invested in their positions as experts in this story. So I think there's a lot of reluctance to engage on these topics because of it. And like I said before, remember, they're hiding stuff, right? They're literally taking away the bad examples. And Mark Lane, as I'll show you in this picture, is covering this evidence up. And they're building a walkway around this entire basalt pavement, so you won't be able to get in close and look at this shit. They don't want you looking at it. I think the cat's out of the bag a little bit, but they don't want you looking at it. You know, look at this shit. Like, you got knobhead kids drawing all over it too, but I don't think that's inevitable. And chalks, I think this is chalk, it's not going to do anything to it. I love this. Just so many different plunge cuts in this. Like, look how many times that they've cut this. Just, yeah. Not the result of just some grinding thing. Like I like this cut too, right? So again, there's that other hammering, whatever the roughing out tool is. More here. More here. It's everywhere on this basalt pavement when you go. And so see this shit, this concrete. This is what he's doing. They're putting blocks in and they're just concreting over it. This is modern. See this? This is what I'm talking about. Like this shit here. He is slowly and surely covering up all this crap. You see this wooden walkway in the background? And they already tried to put... This is Mark Lehner's tape, by the way. Lehner's his little tents over here. It's Mark Lehner himself. Trying to stop people from walking on it. And they're building this wooden walkway that goes all the way around it. And then he's also cementing up all the edges. And they're putting all these blocks in here. So, because the top of it's been polished. You don't see the saw cuts and things on the top. The top was always polished. And there was all these big granite columns. Like, there's a roof over this structure at some point, too. But all the interesting shit's on the side of these blocks. But so they're cementing, literally cementing them over and covering it all up. So, this is the corner block of the Great Pyramid. I've always wanted this picture because it's actually bedrock. See this? See how it shapes up from the bottom here? And then shapes this block here? This isn't a block, this is bedrock. So this is right on the corner. It's locking that structure in. And this lady's enjoying her yogurt or whatever the fuck she's eating. So yeah, I've seen this on the second pyramid, but I wanted to find some on the big pyramid where it's actually bedrock that comes up and locks it in. Didn't a road go over that for a while too? I'm not sure if a road ever went over that. They're still looking. The Scanned Pyramids project's still ongoing. Sockle. The Sockle, and Sockle be out here somewhere. It's not. It's all gone in this area. The casing stones had come way out. Like, you wouldn't actually even see this. This would all be covered by casing stones originally. And the Sockle's also way out here. See, the Sockle would have been out here somewhere. Like, that little block on the edge there is probably the Sockle there. The Sockle's not there everywhere. They have to extrapolate now. Oh yeah, they're also doing something up here. This is the main entrance. So who's this cat in the shirt here, you know? The blue shirt.
What, money? Somebody's gonna send me money? Oh boy!
XC0 and Flick just resubscribed for 8 months. Hope you had a great trip. Cheers, bud.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for the resub. And the 8 months, mate. It was a good trip. Yeah. So I do not know what they're trying to do here. He's talking about the this Scanned Pyramids project, the void in the Great Pyramid, in the YouTube comments. That there was a couple. So one of the voids that they found was here. So see these chevron blocks. So the entrance is down here, right? But up above here, behind these chevron blocks, there is a void detected. Now I wonder if this is all being set up so that they can drill through this and they can look in here, see if they can find this void. I don't know. Like, this isn't all Egyptians. Who's this guy in the hat? So who's this guy in the hat here? I don't know if that's not Mark Lehner himself. It could be Mark Lehner. That looks like a Mark Lehner hat. I don't know who this guy in the blue shirt is. And then there's a blonde girl sitting there as well. Like, I can't quite make out what their shirts say. They could just be cleaning it. But it seems like a lot of effort to get up there and look at this. Now, don't tell anyone, chat. Just between you and me. But when we did our private permission... I was in the pyramid for about an hour. I came out and I talked to Mo, and I came up here. It was dark. I came up here with a light and I took and I filmed. I climbed up on the scaffolding, and I kind of poked around a bit. You used to be able to walk up here. That's a stupid thing. In 2015, I walked up here because you could just walk up here and look. Now they've completely stopped people from doing it. Now I got up here and had a light on it, and the fucking cops went nuts. I'm like, fuck off. They're paranoid about me trying to climb the fucking pyramid. I'm just looking at this shit. And we'll get to this later, but there's actually a granite block up here. It's one of the very few granite blocks in the pyramid, and it has drill holes all over it. History of Granite talks about it. Edge, I don't know if he's in here. But I got up here because I wanted to look at this granite block, and I wanted to look at this outside structure, and I did. And I got a bunch of footage of it, so we'll talk about that later. But yeah, they doing something, man. I don't know what. So this is the normal hole. This is normal Mamun's hole, right? And this is the main entrance where the descending passageway starts. What's that shirt say? There's this lady here and just sunbathing in the shirt here. This isn't a bit later on. There's that guy. That's not Mark Lehner. Okay. I don't know who that is in the blue shirt with the hat. Was it the same? No, it's different guy. Different blue shirt. Maybe it's this same blue shirt guy. Yeah, it might be. No, different blue shirt guy. And they definitely seem to be fucking around at the... I don't know what they're doing. They've got cables running up here too. So yeah, this is the way you normally go to the entrance. Alright. So we're on to like the first day of the tour when I was showing people shit. I think this is like the pillow block, another one. This is one up near the mortuary temple, another one of these. It's just perfect angle. I love this shit. Look at this. I was just trying to get some cool angles on this stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, like this inside corner. You actually can see a radius how it's been turned out. I noticed a few things on this. We noticed a few things here. These are casing blocks from the middle pyramid with their angle. This is the middle pyramid. The huge blocks. Some of these blocks are massive that it made up by it. These are all the granite casing stones. This is around in the corner, so you can see how much they had to dig into the bedrock to like put this on level ground for some reason. If they'd shifted it this way like 50 yards, they wouldn't have had this problem. This is the quarry masters marks. Talking about quarrying all of this granite for Ramses II. It's literally standing on there. That's Matt Simpson pinging me. Let me just turn off WhatsApp here. So you guys don't see our conversation. Not that I'm trying to hide it from your chat, but you know. Watching a stream, can't remember my Twitch login. Your Twitch login? Kefri Gaming, Matt. Isn't it Kefri Live or Kefri Gaming or something? New museum costs £899 million. Well, yeah, the cornerstone is... Well, it would have been covered in casing stones. So yeah, this is the inscription.
Zero underscore 222 is now following.
Ivan, it is not open. It was not open, and I'm hearing it may not be open for the November trip. We'll see. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Middle pyramid. All the granite casing stones. And then this is like, where the fuck did this big block come from, you know? I don't even know. It's a huge chunk of something. I don't know what the hell it was. So this is actually, you can't really see it well here, but this is all like the limestone quarry. This is one of the reasons it's not geopolymer. Like, literally see how they were carving blocks of limestone out to use somewhere. This is third pyramid. This is all the granite casing stones that have been peeled off the third pyramid. I was trying to take pictures of like the piles of shit here, and then like the layers and the scoop marks. So you see the scoop marks in the stone, very much like the quarry scoop marks at the Aswan quarry. Just trying to get different angles on the stonework here. Our group, corners of it. And you can see, actually, so these are the worked faces. So that's the funny thing about this stone. You can see how old it's got, that same flaking that happened on the front of it. But, like, here's a good example. You see this? Like, see how finely worked those inside surfaces are. Like, they finished, you know, most of the faces, everything except the front face. They finished all of these faces to match. You can see on this one here, like, very flat, finely worked surfaces, but they just never smoothed out the front of them. Well, they started to in a couple spots. A couple of nubs or whatever you want to call them, scoops and nubs. So yeah, this is, and then I'm trying to get these angles on where they were smoothing stuff. God, that's a big flake going to come off there, isn't it? And again, I haven't seen these chats, so we're all doing this. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm trying to get these nice angles on it. So, it's like a foot. It's more than a foot. It's a big difference. Very thick. Would they have been hermetically sealed? They were very, very fine. When you do see the inside shapes, like very smooth. Hard to say if it's hermetically sealed or not. I mean, you have so much structure behind it. I don't know how much air's coming through it, to be honest. I don't know why you'd seal it all, but it's possible. This is a good example of like I was trying to get the finished faces here. So you have, this is the mortuary temple supposedly, but it's up against an unfinished face and it's also got tremendous erosion. But yeah, so the story here is that they, trying to think of the name of the caliph, the sheikh, who's like the Saladin? Was it one of the famous? They did finish it. Yeah, no. So, was it Saladin? I'm trying to think of a real famous like Islamic caliph or, Persian ruler. Also, what's his name? Sorry, I'm going to look this up real quick. Stone. Is it Alma Adams? Is it Alma someone? Alma. So this guy here is a very famous stone carver, like knows billionaires like Zuckerberg and people collect his works. He's been profiled in the New York Times. Like his name's Alma something or other. Maybe you guys can look it up. It's Alma A something, Alma Adams, Alma someone. I didn't know who he was until he talked about it. But he's basic. But put it this way, he's world renowned. A very reclusive artist, like a guy that doesn't want to be in the spotlight, but has been doing it for 40 years or something, 30, 40 years, and knows everything about carving stone by hand. Very interesting perspective to have on them. Alma, A-L-M-A, it's like a strange kind of a name. Alma stone carver. He was born in Utah. I know that. Damn it. Sometimes you just have to go to Google. Alma. Alma Allen. A-L-M-A Allen. A-L-L-E-N. Alma Allen. And he said I could use his name and talk about it, but he's very like private and but has like guys like Zuckerberg and other billionaires that collect his work. But just the point is that he's a guy that has been carving stone by hand for 20 or 30 years. Now he uses a robot because he's got really bad carpal tunnel because he's just obsessive by it. Used to go out, bought a Unimog with like a 5-ton crane in it. Would go spend days driving around in the desert looking for stones to pick up and stuff. And it was incredible having his perspective on some of this stuff, because there's definitely a whole bunch of things we looked at where he's just said that's not possible by hand. Like, so it's just really gratifying to have somebody of that level of experience and know-how with stone and hands-on experience that looks at stuff and goes, fuck if I know, like, not possible. So yeah, really, really impressive. And we'll get to some of those specific examples. There's a few things that really hit that category. We may have to stretch this into a couple of streams, chat. Alma's a good Mormon name. Well, that's funny. He grew up as a Mormon, a strict Mormon in Utah. There's been profiles done by him in the New York Times, Yeah, self-taught, risk-taking American sculptor Alma Allen has taken the long road from the sideworks of Soho to the desert of Joshua Tree. He now lives in Mexico City, with I think it's his wife, who's like a gallery manager or whatever you call the curators. Yeah, Alma Allen, if you want to look him up. But yeah, really interesting. Anyway, so the story here is like El Saladin or someone, like one of these Persian rulers. His son, or the guy that was coming after him, wanted to be remembered, and somebody told him, and this was documented by like a Greek historian or something. I need to get the details of this goddamn story straight, but I can give you the outline. And this guy said, well, how can I be remembered through time? Like I can't build a pyramid or something. And someone told him, well, you'd be remembered if you took down the pyramid. You'd be remembered by history if the big names make you a bit skeptic. What big name? This stone carver? You can look him up. He's a stone carver. I mean, I don't know what big name you're talking about. But anyway, so this guy tells this ruler, he's like, well, you'd be remembered if you took down the pyramid. So he hired a company, or a bunch of experts and stone quarriers, to rip down the granite casings from the third pyramid. So this is what this rubble's from. They were ripping down the stone casings from the pyramid. And they went for like 10 years. They were tearing this shit down. And this Greek historian was documenting it and just talking about the fact that they'd pry these out and there'd be a tremendous noise, bang, 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 boom, and they'd be slowly knocking stones down here and there. But eventually he ran out of money to do this after like several years of quarrying, of basically tearing down these stones, these granite stones. And this historian, this Greek guy, went up to the foreman of the company and said, if I could, how much money, he said, so for all the money you got paid over like the 10 years that you were tearing this thing down, if I doubled that money, and would you be, like, if I doubled that money, could you put one block back into place? And he said, not for 100 times the money. He said, we couldn't, not for 100 times the money could we actually put another, like one of these blocks back into the same place where it was and fit it with the same accuracy. So it's an interesting story, but this is why this place has been ripped down so much. It's a lot of it was quarried as well, but they were essentially tearing this down just willy-nilly, trying to be like remembered in history. Excuse me, the coughing. Fuck. Anyway, so here's a piece of granite that's embedded in. Like, so obviously the granite didn't always just be casing. Some of it could be further in. Fuck me. One sec, chat. Let me have a proper cough here for a second. Got that Egypt lung. Well, yeah, we remember the story. So then this is an interesting shot, right? This is what Russ would talk about with unfinished. So you have this structure, and you can see where they were smoothing out the wall on this side, but it was unfinished. And then they built this structure on top of it, which also looks vastly ancient. So it's possible that there was multiple periods of building going on here too. Don't get sick. Now, I was sick in Egypt. Everyone got sick. Everyone got, like, you always get a little touch of something, and a lot of people coughing, and you just you come back with a cough from Egypt all the time. I'm much better than I was. I had to take one day off when they went to Edfu. I just stayed on the boat. I just slept all day. I was better after that day. I was also pretty just, you know, stomach ill and all the rest of it. A lot of people had that problem. This is one of the drill cores at Giza. This is in the little temple out the side of the third pyramid. Here it is here. So it's not just Abu Simbel. These things exist everywhere. And this is some of that erosion inside what they would call the mortuary temple of the third pyramid. And I wanted to get in here and look at this because this is the other smoothed out section on the back side of it. These two were like having this deep ass conversation. These aren't part of our group, but they were all like having a very deep and meaningful conversation about life and shit. I was just like, let me take this photo. I don't want to get into it. Mummy flu? Yes, it's the mummy tummy is what people mostly got. Tiramisu cough gift. Yeah, no mummies were ever found in them, that's right. So I was just trying to, like, get this angle, looking up the stone. at these scoops. Valley Temple. Can you see the join in the stone? So this is it here, obviously. But that's the join in between the stones. It's amazing. I'm going to do it again. Hang on. I knew this would happen at some point. All right, we're at the end of that. That's day 1 and 2. All right, let's look at some videos. So it's just, I just wanted to get this angle on it. I really like this angle on it. I was not using my gimbal. Thoughts on Praveen? I like Praveen's work. I haven't watched much of it lately. Some of the granite blocks in the King's Chamber are spaced like 3 centimeters apart with mortar. No, they're not. What kind of thin material could these space blocks that heavy? They didn't. There's none of the granite blocks in the King's Chamber have mortar on them. The only mortar you see in there is like modern repair work to stuff, but there's no mortar in any of the ancient work. There's certainly mortar in the in parts of the structure of the Great Pyramid, but not in the King's Chamber. Next. So I wasn't using my gimbal on the big camera here, which I have this big gimbal set up, but I did use it later on. There's just rubble. Look at my dirty lens. Fuck's sake. That's so annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely not a gimbal, you can tell. Kind of a waste of time doing this stuff. Dirt on your TV screen. Oh, this might have been... So this is the first day. This is with my mini Osmo, my pocket Osmo. So looking at some of the shafts on the... Up at the... This is when we're wandering around on that first day. Crooker, doing that on this next trip, mate. Yeah. I'm doing that on the... Yeah, I'm going to be doing... I didn't take any extra time on this trip, but this next trip in November will be... So this is that second Sphinx area again. And then I just got told not to film my guard, who was super pissed about Robert Dakota, who... Not Robert Dakota, but someone else Dakota. Dakota someone else, one of these other YouTubers that got apparently kicked out of Egypt or something, but he got this guy in some deep shit because he filmed around that area, probably after paying the guy a bribe and in good faith and all the rest of it. This is Kent Cowas. Fuck off. These songs, man. Sphinx 2, the search for It's Not a Sphinx. Look, it's not a Sphinx. This is where it's supposed to be looking at you. And, you know, this is the angle you never see of it. It's not a Sphinx. Well, that's a bunch of Old Kingdom architecture, brickwork. FNQ, mate. We had some... Actually, we had a guy on from Mackay on the trip. Pretty cool. Well, he didn't... We were around the Kent Cowas area, and it's off limits. He didn't want me filming too much. Although, I didn't want to tell him, but I've been in there. And actually, I think it might have been that same Dakota guy that published it. And then they've now... The way that we got into that structure has now been all cemented in. They literally cemented it up. You can't. There's no getting into that area off limits now. So this is where the museum was, the boat museum. I think it's the south side of the pyramid. I was just kind of filming the... Guys back from Egypt, indeed. BBN, top man. Footage review. I've not watched any. I haven't seen any of this yet.
Yeah, they were numbering. Yeah, you could never get back here before.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to take a look at this side of the pyramid. Southeast Queensland. Welcome. Muzzle. Yeah, exactly.
Makes me wonder, why did they restore this part? And not like this, with a hole in it. Yeah. So this is a... See the smaller blocks underneath it? Yeah, yeah. When the color came out. So this just is like this one here. This is a restored block here. They've just cemented over what was the...
Yeah, this is cement here. So it's funny, like...
Egyptian angle calculations, look.
These drawings on it, like this is our angle calculation. So it's funny, a lot of the people that talk about the pyramid being geopolymer often point to the sections of it that are modern repairs. It's very strange.
That's the arrow pointing this way. Exit is this way. Yeah, seriously. That's the natural erosion that happened to the casing of the stone. On the other side, you would see the one that was saved because it was under the rubble. And this one that is facing weather, you can see wind and sand caused to this severe erosion. And this here is one of the attempts, of course, of finding an entrance.
Yeah, they were cut tunneling in trying to find an entrance over on this side too.
Southern side. Great pyramid. .07. That's how accurately it's living after God knows how many thousands of years. Yeah.
It is pretty amazing that it's that flat. Get your selfie, get your picky.
Oh yeah, this is the inside, so here's probably a better indication of it, right? And they keep it rough so it has friction too a little bit, right? It still matches, but
breezy.
A little rough with friction.
Some of this is ancient mortar. Breezy.
Yeah. It's accurately less than 0.
Pounding stones, yeah.
I always like the corner perspective.
There's a lot of gram activity. These things happen. You fucking see that camel? Look at it fucking go. He's just attacking it, attacking his other camel. Rah! Just bit it. Rah! Fuck you, he says. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Always like these corner shots. Because it just, you know, as rough as it is, it just degenerates into that straight line. The corners are so cool. I don't think we're getting through this in one stream, chat, somehow. I don't know. Who was on a private tour? Me? From that YouTube channel shirt? Yeah, the Land of Chem? Probably. So yes, basalt pavement. Note the wooden blocks.
That's a nice one. It's a nice cut here. A little lip on it and everything's there.
Yeah, it had a little lip. There's actually quite a thin blade on this.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
A little lip on it and everything's there.
Listen to the use of yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. Very smooth.
يا دولة ايه الاخبار؟ شربونا الصيني زنجينه.
The little camera does a pretty good job up close. I was blowing it out of there, blowing the sand out of there.
So in some cases we do have the same thing here. Yeah. The powder of diamond is formed into the copper, and we choose copper because it deteriorates fast.
And it exposes the diamond to work.
Oh, history for granite? Okay. So he sometimes turns up in these streams. Oh, it's basalt, but... But this boy's not telling Yusuf what to do. This guy brings Yusuf tea. The cops here bring him tea. Like, he pays him, you know.
The other theory about the powder separated from the copper saw and it's cutting, it doesn't make any sense to me because we know that the stone is brought in a specially granite in a raw form.
You boys can't probably hear that, can you?
Yeah.
That will include the hinges and the doors. And if this is a powder,
The microphone's shit.
while you are doing that drilling,
Right.
how can you keep it?
Going up, right.
It had to be formed with
A little close there. Who's the other guy? Yeah. Joe. Yeah. So here's that wooden walkway they're trying to put in.
It's a lot.
Peruvian cross. Yep. Joe was in Peru with us last year.
But of course, we have things like it's not like the ones that is coming from the east desert, from the eastern desert.
Shit's everywhere all over this basalt pavement. I'm fascinated by this pavement.
Made from obsidian.
Right. Where's the obsidian
Obsidian
coming?
is coming from Afghanistan, same like lapis lazuli. The tube from lapis lazuli. They didn't find that in a stream of whatever coming from Afghanistan.
He's just a big dude. He's well, it's basalt, but yeah, same sort of thing. They polished it all down, man. I'm not sure how they did it. There's another. This is that same cut I think we were playing with earlier. This is all 4K too. 4K 60 FPS, little tiny camera. It's amazing what it can do. Aowen. Yusuf Aowen. It was so nice to have a breeze there that day. Really cut the heat right out. So nice. So this is this square socket here, as you can see a little bit of granite. There were these big granite square pillars. There's still a chunk of one left over here a bit, but there were these giant big columns of granite, essentially square columns, pillars or whatever you want to call it, that then would have supported a roof above this. And yeah, this is all like the cement work that they're doing to, I mean, putting it back together, but also hiding all the evidence. And yeah, they built this wooden walkway around the whole thing. Russell Carlson? Who's Russell Carlson? Yeah, Randall. But yeah, I'm gonna call him Russell. Fresh banana bread for brekkie. That would be good, man. That sounds good, actually. Did I ever find out what that stuff was all about? No, I mean I don't know. I too have banana bread. Very good. No, I never did. I mean, I didn't do anything more with it. You can't. I don't know. That's one of those things where it's like seems like a no-brainer to excavate, or to at least get some sort of proper. Can't tell you. I pinned a comment on that video that said, "Yes, I am aware that you can get endoscopic cameras for mobile phones, but you need something with a proper light. The little tiny light on those things, if it's a big cavity, you wouldn't see shit, just be black. You need something that's got proper light. You need some serious equipment to really explore that space, if it was a large space." But I must have had 1,000 comments of people going, "Well, you just put an endoscope down there." Like, fuck me. Look at you. It's the Banana Bread Club. 3 years. 3 of yous. That's the block of granite. So this is one of the leftovers of one of those columns of granite. It's basalt. It's not granite. It's basalt. Don't know what it was for.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, this one I've filmed a few times.
Oh, yep. Got lots of footage of this now, don't I? More? You want more? Let's do more. Vertical groups. Right, I'm going to start skipping through this. As we will be here literally for days on end. Okay, so we're back here again. This next day with the group. I was trying to get this shot there of like how flat and level it still is. What's under the basalt? It's limestone, it's bedrock. Servo. No, not as far as I know. Nobody's looked at it with a microscope. There's a nice one. That's the old plunge cup. Yeah, this was pounding stones and drag saws, right? It's like, nee, oh shit, nee, oh shit. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm glad the news is out there because I was sworn to secrecy for some time about that Netflix series. You can't tell anyone. And I'm glad to see that it's coming out now. Very much looking forward to it as well. It's kind of cool. And then, yeah, see, this is all Mark Lanner's cement work in the background.
Hey, Mark.
It's another one. It's cut here. Didn't really get that there, but that is a saw cut. Another one there. Oh, it's the same one maybe. Just getting it right.
You guys want to see?
You guys want to say something cool?
Nah, I'm just typing it. Just videoing. I've got.
Okay. So we've seen this too. Okay.
Yeah, rock cut structures.
Looking up at the wall. 30, 40 feet up. We're nearly done we're nearly at the end of the first day, y'all. Now we're in the Valley Temple. Maybe. I don't know. You can't really use tools and shit. You can get away with a fair bit though.
Planet.
We have all that charted out in deviation. So on our maps, we have it marks exactly where the deviation from the compass is, and they, like you're saying, the lines sweep more.
Valley Temple.
See, there is some constructed ones. These were the ones.
Huh?
There's a door in the back there.
Right.
One of these.
This is actually back to the first day again.
It's not part of. You see the opening here to the left?
Yeah, I do.
So this slab, and then there are other shafts that leads down. You wanna crawl? We don't wanna get dirty on our.
Yeah.
Listen to you.
I can see. Yes.
Okay.
Sure. They're here to do it. Go for it.
I'm a veterinarian for a job. Getting dirty is every day.
All right. All right. Next day. That was a long day one. Sakara. Oh, this is going to be way shorter. Look at this. We don't have hardly anything to look at. Where was this? Okay, this is the famous causeway scene at Sakara. See this thing here? See the column? See the flared endpoints of the column here? The lotus-shaped flower? The lotus flower. So you see the dude though? Like this is how they tell you, well, this is how they moved all the columns. And they moved the stuff. So it actually is a boat carrying a column or a pillar. Look how small it is though. This thing, it barely, like it's literally this wide. It's from his butt to like his knee. Like it's not a very big column. It might weigh a couple tons. It's tiny. You should see the size of the ones, the bigger ones that they get up to. Like this is not. I don't think this is. It's the same thing with that Djibouti Hotep image of them moving it like a statue on a sled. The Netflix series. I'm not sure what it is, but I think it's. Is it like November 11th or something? 11/11 might be when it comes out. I don't know. So this is, but it's an interesting scene, right? They moved these sort of columns, but this doesn't scale up. Like you just, and wait till we get to the quarry, We should just skip to some of the interesting shit at the quarry. So this is Sakara. Here's another. Here's a block. Did we not? Wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. I feel like for sure we skipped some shit here that I wanted to see. Maybe it's all on my phone. I might be thinking about my phone. Yeah. I know I took some pictures with my phone. Okay, never mind. Yeah, there you go. You see it pretty good there. Yeah, not the world's biggest column. So yep, U-shaped channel. You channeled U-shaped blocks. Channeled U-shaped blocks. Here's made out of granite. This one's looks like it's white calcite to crystallized alabaster. Again, looking at it, this stuff was beneath the floor level. And actually, here's another piece of it. When you clear that off and you actually touch the side of this where it's been machined, that is so smooth right there. Like where originally with the machining on these blocks was so smooth. It's unbelievable. Serapeum. You guys have seen the Serapeum, so took a few pictures in the Serapeum. Serapeum was interesting. Ran into Jimmy Church. Jimmy Church.
Uncharted X
on YouTube.
That's Jimmy Church. Yeah, he was running his group in here. Muhammad Ibrahim was there with Yusuf. Well, not with Yusuf, with Jimmy Church. It was actually kind of interesting. They got into the back room here I think they did a special permission to get into the back room. And then we were going to get in there, but then this big boss was at the Serapeum, and then a bunch of our group started getting into the boxes, and then the big boss came, and it was a big shit fight for a while. Like, he was cranky. They don't really get cranky because you're getting in the boxes. What they get cranky about is there was really busy in the Serapeum. There's a lot of people in there, and what they get cranky about is when one group starts doing something like that. Then another group comes along. If they see you doing it, they look at their tour guide and they go, "How come we can't do that?" And it just makes people upset. So it's kind of a weird situation. If you ever do this stuff, you want to do it out of the sight of like other groups, so they don't complain about it. What's interesting here is you see this alcove right on the wall. It's tough to see, but this is where all of these big granite steles used to be, like the big false doors that would face the boxes. You can see it more clearly there. And there's actually renovation. Like, there's tile work that's going in here. So it's like, at what point was this renovation tile work done on this thing? It's hard to think that it might have been done after the granite stele was taken out. So it's definitely been renovated. Just these beautiful fucking inside corners. So I didn't get up to much here. I didn't do the shit that I did last time, which was crawling in boxes and stuff. The last time I was there, I got into a half dozen of the boxes. Anyone looked under the boxes, the bottom stone? Nobody's lifted the boxes up as far as I know. No, they have not done that. I was taking a look at the box with the writing here, I guess. Just getting up close to the writing. The chicken scratch.
It's a DJI. It's like a Osmo Mini or something. Mini Osmo, Pocket Osmo. If I can drop it in there. I've filmed in here, so yeah, I'm just mucking around.
Huh? Yeah. What's your issue? Yes, I've been in the boxes. Lots of people go in the boxes. It's granite. I'm not going to fucking hurt it. Like, you go look at all the boxes carefully. They've all got like, there's also a cavity at the back here. They've all got stone stacked up next to them. That's how you get in and out of them. There's some very straight edges and inside corners in the boxes. I've shown plenty of footage of being in the boxes on this channel before. Didn't really. I might have taken some more pictures on the phone for that day. Not Paltrow's head. I don't know what he's worked up about. I don't know. Abu Sir. We did, well, it's actually, was it Alexandria? No, it was Heliopolis, something like that. What did we call it? Memphis. Memphis is where we went. Memphis, and then we went to Abu Sir, Abu Ghraib, which was a lovely day. So this is, I do want to see this. Oh, I'm fucked. That's what it is. I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I might be, if I could be cursed at this point. It might be true. I get sick most times I go to Egypt. Well, at least you get like a little head cold or congestion or something. And I got it. You're fucked, bro. I got it. Makes sense now, bro. Sorry. Yeah, a lot of the world, there'd be a lot of fucked up people because a lot of people get into these boxes. Everybody pretty much gets a turn in the big box, in the box in the Great Pyramid too. It's just the way it happens on these trips. We don't film it or anything, but people generally get a go, you know?
That happened here is beyond almost.
Okay, so now this is the DSLR with the gimbal. So I wanted to see this footage. In any 15-ton boxes, I won't catch you in those in the Serapeum, that's for sure. But you might get into a 100-ton box. 15-ton boxes are little baby ones. It's like the second largest Sphinx or something, this thing? Yes, in many markets. Yeah, no one's looked under the boxes. There's the box in the hallway. You would think that they would have looked under it to see if there was any signs of wood or anything like that, but they have not. Yes, little, that's right. And got the zoom going with this too. Nice. Oh yeah, baby. I'm liking the look of this footage already. Is it shaking a little bit? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, been there. I don't really buy anything from Egypt these days. That's our group. My dirty goddamn lens. It's the only lens I took too. In the pyramids is a column base.
Hello. Thank you. Australia.
It's been cut off and then.
And the granite. So all this is reflecting the same combination of stones that is used.
Was the boxes added after building the pyramid during enough? Well, the box in the big pyramid is too big to get through some of the passages, I believe. So it must have been put in there at some point.
Here we can see that this is a separate crown of
Aaron
a
Dennis, one of
palm-shaped
these days you're
pillar.
coming. Good
and
stuff.
This is not a common thing for
Hope
the
you do,
pyramid
man.
builders, because they were capable of creating the entire pillar from a single solid piece, like what we're going to see today in the pillars that is still standing in Abu Sir. This is a base of a pillar.
Yeah, they
So,
use
I
those
mean,
guns as walking
a base
sticks
of
half
a
the time.
statue, a pedestal, and this is the size of the foot. Yeah, there used to be another foot here.
Who are you talking about? It's me. The guards. I would agree with you.
This is
Bum
cortisol.
bag.
Come feel
He
it.
does wear a bum bag, yes.
Get the was on the end.
7 on the Mohs scale. Very intense.
Where did this quartzite come from?
Area called the Red
Sorry.
Mountains here in Cairo.
Oh.
Yeah, about 100 miles from here. And then feel the inside of the glyphs. It's beautiful. It's done by hand,
It's not polished.
the glyphs. But it's not reflecting the
I'm
same
just taking an executive
capability
decision.
of this.
What kind
Because-
of tools did they use to carve that?
Flint chisels. And,
Copper. All they have is
Flint,
copper.
Flint chisels.
Stone chisels will be more
like stones.
efficient. Not the copper chisels, because no matter
Copper's
how hard
gonna bend.
you hammer on it or try to make it harder, it will never scratch this stone. This stone, like even diamond tipped tools, they suffer with that stone a little.
ده في كتابة مشفرة يا ريس.
Cryptid glyphs is laid on this statue. تفضل يا باشا.
مري واجد.
Is the inscription. And this we have a head of a famous king like Sennacherib.
Get it back, yeah.
That's the iconography that we can.
I'll just build a barge. Your baggage claim. Build a barge, you have to, yeah. You're a nice working barge.
And look at the name of Ramses II. In my opinion, this belongs to the Middle East.
Duck, duck, goose. I think it's a duck. Service tech. Hello there.
Yusuf.
I hadn't been to this site either, so I was filming quite a bit at was it Alexandria? So here's a good example of the tale of two industries, right? So this is a box that's pretty clearly carved by hand.
I got it. I'm filming this. We'll go out of the way then.
America?
Australia.
Man.
Thank you. It's in my bag. Hang on.
Yeah, right. So I was really interested in filming the stuff that was not perfect, because I normally wouldn't do it. And this is Jesus, that's loud. So this is the giant. I think this thing's quartzite as well, actually. Super impressive. This is the big Ramses 2. That guy was asking for a cigarette. Sticky V. Wow, this is late for you, bro. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Enjoy it, man. I'll leave this. This will be up on Twitch. I'll probably leave it up on YouTube for a little bit. Got any darts, bro? Yeah, they do ask. And then you see this shitty glyph carved into the side of it. The giant nipple. Look at that thing. Yeah, this is a big one. It's probably 150, 200 tons or something. Pretty big. Yeah, I hadn't. I've had footage of this before, but I hadn't seen it myself. Look at the legs. It looks amazing. Do I watch Praveen? I haven't watched any. I have in the past. I haven't watched any of his stuff for a long time though. It's tough to watch everybody's shit, you know. I don't get the time to watch it. This is just a baby compared to some of the bigger ones. But it's impressive. It was laying down this side in the dirt, and then this was the side that was up that was being eroded by whatever, wind and sand, I guess. Yep, upskirts. Got to get the upskirt shot, you know. I think I go upstairs and I get the big nice shots from upstairs. Yeah. It's huge. What's up, Ben? Sorry, Jay Grove. What's up, Jay? I'm reading your message out loud. Good to see you, man. Yeah, she's mighty impressive piece, this one. On this side it is, yeah, so I think it was buried, and then this is the stuff that was maybe exposed, and then that's eroded. I don't know how long that would take, like probably a fair while. And again, I think this these glyphs were most likely added later to this guy. And they seem quite rough relative to, that's Almorallen again. That's they seem quite rough relative to the detail of the rest of the statue. He's fine, it's Egypt. Phallic dagger? I don't know. I don't know if there's anything associated with that. Oh, here we go, with my dirty lens again. We're at Abyssia now. They're still digging here, like they're doing all this work on the side. They didn't want anyone filming it. Yeah, and it's quartzite too, like you said. It's like a 7 or an 8 on the Mo scale or something. See the archaeological tent over here? They're digging away and doing stuff. They're digging down on the causeway. Must be such a frustrating thing. Like, you probably spent all day working, pulling sand out of there, come back the next day, and like 30% of what you did yesterday is now filled back in again. If only my lens was clean. Sapphire is a 9, so is Corundum, yeah.
Sam Spidey subscribed to the channel.
Sam, thank you for the subscription, mate, over on YouTube. Appreciate it. Channeled U-shaped block that runs all the way down the causeway here. In fact, it's all under the stones on this side. And so this is underneath what the floor level would have been on the causeway here. Yeah. I certainly got my fill of sand. I'm good for 3 weeks without sand, and then we're going back again, I guess, in 3 weeks. So. Tube drill. I don't know what someone's been doing here. This wasn't always covered in granite like this. I don't know what this shit is either. You can really clearly see the like the width of the tool. Yeah. See, these are the things we need latex molds on. It's not a complete hole, so you wouldn't really be able to tell. But in the complete holes, you'd definitely be able to like define the spiral or define the path of the grooves and things.
The inscriptions that the archaeologists.
So you have these single. You see these at Saqqara too, like the single piece pillars, and they get much bigger than this now. What's the political climate in Egypt nowadays? I honestly don't know. Isn't it the military? Isn't it the military still running or some shit? Look, I don't know. I don't pay a lot of attention to it. I mean, they want tourism, you know? Like tourism's always going to be a very important part of the economy there. So, illegal to use latex in drill holes? Yeah, man. Yeah, you don't want to get caught doing that shit. You can't do anything like that. Very illegal. You might be able to get away with it at Abyssia. You need to really clean out the holes. Though they've got a lot of sand in them. Some of them you're getting buried. Some of the ones that I know where they are now like almost buried in sand now.
Yeah, you finding them?
Came in.
They're everywhere here.
Retiring next year. Hope to get into one of the tours. I hope to see you there. It's good fun. A lot of people fingering holes. Abyssia. Lots of hole fingering going on these sites. There's so many at Abyssia. It's not even. It's kind of ridiculous. Look at this. I took a bunch of videos, didn't I? Fuck. This is what it takes, though. Bucket list? It is, yeah. It's worth going at least once. Just, yeah.
There's a lot of copper here.
I'm getting to the point where I know where all of these little things are on all of these sites now. So this is like a split hole. This piece here went to this one. See it? Like, and this is the ringing. This is the ringing stone.
Like it's split in half. There's you have the top and the bottom. And of course, everybody likes to do this with this stone. This is the famous.
KMN62 just subscribed.
There's no guards on this site.
Basalt or black granite.
It's special permission only.
Here on both sides, so
you would probably have to. Yeah. I don't think you'd be able to do it during a special permission.
Yeah.
And K&M.
Thank you very much, sir.
And the obelisk.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub, man. Cheers. I very much appreciate it. Cheers.
I think there's iron in there or something.
Something.
USA in April. Cool. Yeah, that was me tapping on it with a stone. It's yeah, I think they're being facetious about damaging the granite with the latex. I don't think you'd be able to do it on a special permission because you literally have like some high level keepers with you, like like site inspectors kind of thing. You might, there's other ways to get in to see these sites, let's just say that. And I think that would be the time to do it if you can get in and not have any of the inspectors there and the only people you're dealing with are the actual keepers on the site because they wouldn't care. And you just pay them some money. So.
Right.
It's like this one, for example, would be perfect. Then you have this one on the side. One of my favourite ones here just because you can literally see the thinness of the tooltip, right? It drilled all the way in here and then snapped the core off, but left a nice lip. And I've never had good footage of this. Like for some reason.
Well, yeah, that's what you'd think you'd do, right?
I think I did actually. I might have got it last year, but I wanted to get this.
You bring latex and make a latex mold and try and define the.
In April, yeah, April's going to be Turkey. I'm working on getting that put together, but we're going to Turkey in April. There's not going to be. How does it snap the core off? Well, you have to like put a wedge in there, and then usually like a steel wedge. That's the funny thing with Mark Lehner's documentary where they cut out a little core like this. They literally got a couple of steel wedges in there and just hammered these wedges in, which of course you have steel, right? And it snaps it off. They don't care what he says. It's just they're worried about the site and damaging it. And a lot of them don't speak English very well at all.
The pieces, but like the striations, but nobody's done it.
I'm literally talking about this latex thing here now. Probably doorways. A lot of these were probably doorways. U-shaped block. So many hours, and just in these couple would be good too. There's definitely striations in these, and like grooves in these. Significance of the drill holes. I have a whole documentary talking about the significance of the drill holes. Like it's just some pretty advanced technology that has created them beyond what the dynastic Egyptians were capable of. But if you're interested in the drill holes, go check out the Uncharted X channel because there's a documentary about the Egyptian tube drills, and it will explain everything. Here's another couple. This thing's getting buried in sand, as you can see. This thing wasn't buried in sand a couple of years back. The first time I saw it was. The old basalt saw cuts. RSU. Your first channel link is broken? Oh, it is too. Sorry about that. You are quite right. I need to change that in Nightbot. My bad.
So this was all cased.
It should be right if I do this.
Limestone. And then, so this is...
Does this
I don't know why it's done this. It's just some effect of the...
it does it again. Fuck. Yeah, I need to change
natural.
that. Sorry.
Yeah, up and above, right?
Well, it's Uncharted X, obviously. The second channel, that's 2ND on the end of that's wrong. I need to fix it.
And so, yeah, this was not... This must have been a facing surface, but now it's all fucked up and flaky like this.
My technical term, it's all fucked up.
Like all this shit's basalt, like...
Which it is all fucked up. It shouldn't be all fucked up, but it's all fucked up. Why is it all fucked up?
This is a smoking gun here.
And then, yeah, there's a saw cut.
It's curved and flat. So you see the curvature of the saw. And you see striations of the machine if you have some water here. But what are they doing here? Are they trying... Was this hidden? Because it's not flat.
I don't know.
It makes too much sense.
Proper.
So they're trying to make a line along here.
Yeah, it continues, doesn't it? It is. Well, so, let's see.
I'm a scientist. I'm a scientist.
No, you put a bit of water on it, it'll show right up here.
They built it on the complex of Nefer Irka.
A little bit of water here.
Yeah.
Oh, bump, sorry.
Now, this was not done by Ludwig Burckhardt. This was done by the pyramid builders.
Yeah, it's a good soundbite, isn't it?
That could be fourth
Good place.
dynasty, Dennis.
It's nice being here.
Yeah, always. I'll put my private permission here, not into a small...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is there much over there? Is there much to see over the hill here?
There is.
Yeah.
Let's go, we are here.
Yeah.
Maybe after we see the...
See the saw cut?
Yeah. So this is another...
It's another... Actually, I just see a drill hole here. I haven't...
See the saw cut?
I think there's a drill hole right there. Yep. I don't think I've ever looked at that. I'll have to look at that next time I'm there next month. That looks like another drill hole right there.
So this is another mortuary temple.
The latest of the bullshitteries is at the speed of science. That's the Pfizer term. We have to move at the speed of science.
Get this before everyone gets there.
And this is what's...
This is where this block is. That everyone, I like run over here because everyone, as soon as they see this, they're like, oh my god, and it's like a giant crowd of people like trying to figure this thing out. Thank you, Crooker.
One of the best saw cutting marks is located right here.
Top. It's also concave a little bit.
Alright, I'll get out of your way. No, I'm good. I'm done. I'm done.
I mean, I filmed the shit out of that thing, so...
We can just assume that this, and of course what we
So
have
this is the
here in the
entrance to the-
limestone as well, then we can assume that this is a location of one of the basins. Not necessarily the beginning of it, but at least this part was going to be above the ground level, maybe.
But it didn't go into the pyramid at all.
Yeah.
It didn't go into...
We don't know.
It's in the pyramid complex.
Oh, this is
So
in
don't separate this from that.
Oh,
This and that are part of the same complex. That includes the causeway and the valley temple. That's all one building. Yeah. So if we look at the level, this is higher.
Yeah, I walked over the back here. There wasn't much to see. Over at this next pyramid, it's like another. Yeah, see, I sound better now than I did in Egypt. There's like not much to see over here. And this is looking back at this complex with all the saw cuts on it. Nothing to see here. I don't think I got much else. Just the group. Just a group walking around. It's just more limestone over here. It's probably not worth. And a bunch of mud brick stuff. Did I get Abu Ghraib? Oh, this is actually pretty cool. Yeah, this is cool. We did get a good look at this, which I wanted to get. This thing. Look at this fucking thing. Wanted to get here before everyone and film this a bit. This is quite a your flock, yes, my people there. So this is amazing block with all these little cuts on it. I think it's like slate or something.
Yep.
Circular cut in the middle, like it's just been machined to, I mean, just all over the place. I'm amazed it's still even here. It is still there. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's very, I don't know. There must have been a lot of stuff on here, on this.
You put some water on it, it's absolutely beautiful. You can see the lines at the side of it here too.
Lena, piece of stone.
It's a piece of stone.
That's nuts.
Anyone been allowed to lidar? I lidar. Ancient snooker table could be. It's slate. Like, isn't that what they? I think that's what's in my pool table. You can lidar. I mean, I lidar'd it, but
What
I mean.
have we here?
Your documentary?
Yeah.
Be careful.
It's not part of a complex. It looks more like the stone that they sharpen their blades on or something like that. But, and it's not
Be
basalt
careful.
stone. It's a type of quartzite.
Yeah, right. Oh, it's
Different
quartzite.
one than the ones we saw here. We can see here a lot of purple and green colors in it. And we can see, for example, that the blade that was cutting here reaches the point where the stone got broke. And the bottom
Get in
of
there,
it as well.
Oh, lidar at altitude over the whole area? I don't know.
And
I
the
don't think so.
variations and what appears to look like Dremel tools, bites, all over that piece of stone. So
See how fast it's drying off.
where is the rest of this, or what is it doing here in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
It's one of the rare types of stone.
Slate, isn't it?
It's like slate. It's like a type of blue quartzite.
Ah.
Very hard. Saving on the most.
Please be careful there.
There's a drop. People are walking over here. There's a drop off right to the left. I keep
Yeah.
telling them to be careful.
Probably igneous rock. Igneous or metamorphic.
They actually pick it up.
You see all these.
What does it mean, metamorphic?
Okay, you're next. Metamorphic means transform. We have two different.
I think we look at that a little more here.
Like we're seeing the third pyramid. Third pyramid, same thing.
Oh no, this is down in the it's unfinished too. See this? Like they finished the wall here and then they didn't finish this here. I don't know what the deal is here.
Of the hieroglyphs over here.
They just cut it off here for some reason.
Similar.
Do you have to sign a waiver to walk around on the sites? I'm assuming it's Egypt. Good luck suing anybody. I don't know if people sign. I'm sure they sign something when they sign up for the tours with Kemet School, but I mean, I don't know because they don't. You know, when you come on these tours, you're not. I'm a host, but you're touring with Kemet School and Select Egypt, not me. Like I'm on the trip too. I'm a host, but it's not, I'm not a tour company. You know, I'm not set up. I don't have the liability. I don't have the ability to deal with money or any of that shit, and I don't want the liability. So that's why I work with Yusuf and the Kemet School. It's like they handle all that. Like that's their job. Like they're a tour company. My job's to like basically advertise the tour and fill it. But yeah, I imagine there's some sort of waiver, but it's just not a litigious society. Like no one gives it. Like it's not like America. It's if you get hurt in Egypt, you have to deal with it. Like there's not really a concept of suing people in court for something. I don't think you couldn't do what you do in America. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that edge there. I took a bunch of pictures. I wanted to send it to Russ to show him all that stuff. Okay, here we go. So this is Abu Ghraib. This is the Hotep. This is so when I talked about before with an offering table like that.
We also look on the inside.
That column base that was repurposed. This is what an offering table generally looks like. Although I think this is also probably an older piece that's been machined. But this is the general shape, at least not a four-pointed Hotep like this, but one of these sides of this is what an offering table usually looks like.
Corners of this round thing, there's saw cuts in there as well.
Base Taz, man, thanks. I appreciate it, man. Thanks you. I hope so. I hope we get to. I hope we get to some answers at some point too. Piece of hot sauce, right? Yeah, Texas, right? Yeah. And then there's this nice big cut in here, in the central plug. Now, bear in mind, like I'm not looking at the whole thing because I've already got all the footage of the whole thing. I'm trying to film specific things on this trip. The idea is that I'll put it all together when I want to talk about this. Look at the giant ring I'm using. You can see the shadow of it.
Came from far away.
This giant chunk of white calcite here, though.
Some people say they don't know if it's really constructed like this. This is actually calcite.
It is. Yeah, big blocks of it. And this is the Hotep shape. So there's rumours that this is the entrance to a tunnel system.
This is that Hotep shape there.
This is the Hotep, yeah, big offering table. But normally you only have the one end. But these are like
they're also digging up here, like they're doing work on this side. In fact, they cleared out everything around the back of this side, and there's another saw cut here.
And there's more bowls around the corner here. Let Yusuf do his thing over there.
So nice. The wind was so nice. You just need that wind. It sounds shit in the microphone, but it's like they used a giant router. It does kind of look like that, doesn't it?
Get off it.
God, fucking dirty camera lens. I'm triggered by my camera lens. The dirt on it. That's the Hotep shape, right? It's like this arrow dong shape thing, whatever.
Hey, hop down.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe later, get Yusuf over here, we'll do it.
I already did it.
Yeah.
There's actually, if you go here, just on these rocks here, there's a depiction of what the obelisk... This is a base of an obelisk. This isn't a pyramid. This was the base for a giant obelisk. And there's a little diagram on one of these rocks here that shows you what it looked like. I have filmed it in the past. And I think this is the last one for this. We went around the back here where they had done all of this work. What the fuck is that? I think it was my gimbal for some reason. So they'd uncovered all this. This was all, they literally excavated all this recently. It's a big obelisk. This was supposedly the biggest obelisk ever. And it's Old Kingdom. It's the only Old Kingdom obelisk that we know about. But nobody's ever seen it. Like, it's gone. There's just a drawing of it from the Old Kingdom. This granite had to come from somewhere. The DJI. This isn't a DJI thing. It's the Zihuan Weeble S DSLR gimbal system. I think I hadn't balanced it quite properly. I figured it out. Like this was the first time I was using it here. There's like another. I forgot about one part of one of the bits of balancing, but I worked it out later. It's fine. So yeah, they uncovered all this, and they dug it. This tarp is covering an excavation.
Example of how they were doing these figures, because some people get confused in it. Here is the early shallow parts that they were hammering to create the spaces where they're gonna put.
And the nice thing about this is this has been in the dirt for so long. They've just recently uncovered it, so it still looks fresh. Like this is it all got buried, so it's still, the stone marks still look kind of fresh, but because it's been buried in sand up until like whatever last month when they uncovered it. This is the work site that they've been digging at on this site.
The wood and hammer on top of it, make it tight. Then they pour water. The wood swallows. Then they can use a piece of iron or piece of rock to fill in one of the spaces and hammer it until the stone cracks broken.
Buried. So yeah, they're digging up something here. And they're hammering all these steel pickets into the ground here. I don't know, I think they're like marking it out or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is all fresh excavation though. Right down to the bedrock. This was probably all tiled at some point.
Oh, yeah. This is all cleaned up. This has all been cleaned up.
Oh, this is different than the last time.
Yeah. These are the other bowls.
Just here.
Oh, right here's fine.
Mr. Sugar.
Come in. Any friend?
He's not very sweet.
Any friend? Sadiki.
His name is Sugar.
His name is Sugar.
He's not very sweet.
Sugar man. He's not very sweet.
As we can see, we have other basins with a different design.
We don't know.
There is a couple that still attached on their original location, but it looks like somebody tried to pull them out and then they were broken. And the other one was for purification. It had only one drill. Why would this one have three? Must have had a different function.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, these limestone ones, they have 3 holes and some of them only have 1. Yusuf is awesome. Yeah, he's great. That bedrock, it might be better. Yeah,
so
I don't know if it's tiled. It might just been indented. Like they often did that where you wouldn't be smooth where they put the tiles in. They'd indent the bedrock to then match the tiles to it, so it kind of all locked in 3 dimensions.
That one has 3 as well.
All right, let's move on to the pictures of the day. This is back at Alexandria. It's the man himself. It's a chunk from another colossal statue here. A belt line with a very shitty, what looks like a glyphs carved into it. This is another dagger, right? So this is a belly button dagger, belt line, and then this stuff looks like it's been added pretty crudely later on. First time listener, first time caller, Legatu, welcome. Trip was good. Trip was good. This is that same quartzite statue. The feet. Our shitty box. Our Tale of a Two Industries box. This is all been put back together. See how it's all repaired. But it's another colossal statue. I like taking these pictures of stuff that is pretty clearly done by hand. Like this is a hammered statue. This is your Tale of Two Industries when it comes to statues. Another upskirt shot. More upskirt shots. Although, admittedly, it's hard not to be upskirt shots when you're walking around something that's this large. This is our Sphinx. Our Colossus. Lord Condoin. Top man. Little off topic. What's your favourite meal while visiting Egypt? Just curious. Chicken and kofta. That's what you eat all the time. It's chicken and kofta. Favourite meal? I do like some of their desserts. I mean, they might be more Turkish than Egypt desserts, the baklava or whatnot, but You know, probably the grilled lamb, honestly. They do a really good grilled lamb. We get a fair bit of that grilled lamb. See, I'm not convinced that this wasn't added later. It just looks rough compared to the details. Like, look at the fine details on that thing. On the hilt of the knife, but relative to that. And you can still see the carving marks on a lot of stuff, and then just a lot of... And this is definitely... Look at this. Like, definitely chiseled, you know? Versus some of these fine details. Just... Call me skeptical. Base Taz, it's possible, mate. Yeah, I don't know. It's something. It's definitely not something that we're capable of. So there's the, you know, the... see, look at that glyph compared to the neck, the features around the neck. It definitely seems to be something that they're able to do. This is, look at all this work they're doing on the side of it. You saw the wheelbarrows and shit. I mean, pretty bloody clear, you know, grooves and in that one. Another one we found. More. It's like a scoop mark in this granite. I don't really know what to make of it. Like something scooped it out though. And then from, this is from Abu Ghraib, you can see the Giza pyramids. More of the channeled U-shaped block, this time made from quartzite, turns left, and then I think it pops out into the bowl here. Yeah. Yeah. That's them looking at the stuff. Oh, yeah, the group shots. Good stuff. So we did get into the mastaba, and so this is our limestone box in a box, which I need to talk about again at some point. And this lid, unfortunately, is all busted up, so this cracks in this lid's also kind of new, I think. But this used to be in 3 pieces, the lid for this, and it's all fucked up now. Somebody was dropping... This is kind of open to the air, so someone was dropping some rocks on it, I think. Which is really sad. And then it has this limestone liner, which is really unique. I've never seen this anywhere else. It's very, very strange, yes. I'm fascinated with this box too. I wish we could clean it up, like get it all cleaned up, you know? Unfinished. That's it. That's it. Let's see, we got museum. As you can see, we're loading for the first time. Got some cool shit in the museum, man. Found a few cool things. But, chat, I think what we're going to do is probably call it there for now. I think we're going to, yeah, we might wrap here for today. I need to take a little break. It's been 3 hours. Day 1 looks freaking awesome so far. Day 2 through 14. We did day 1 and 2. Well, day 0, day 1, day 2. And this is now day 3. The museum is essentially day 3. So we did Giza, Saqqara, Memphis, Abu Ghraib. And then we've got lots left. We've got tons of stuff left. So I'll be streaming again.
What money? Somebody's going to send me money? Oh, boy!
Oh, man. K&M 62.
Thank you, Tracy. You've got sharp eyes and beautiful earlobes.
Thank you so much for
Thank you, Tracy.
Whoop, no.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Tracy.
Why is that?
Thank you, Tracy.
Because I don't believe in it.
I don't know why it's playing that one on every button, but there you go. I'm sorry about that, but thank you so much. KMN62, you are very generous with the 5 gifted subs, mate. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it a lot. Good stuff. Yes, production, right? Thank you, Tracy. Yes, it's all good. We'll play the Rogan clip.
Uncharted X is a great channel.
He gets deep into this stuff, Joe.
I'm sure he does. His YouTube channel is incredible.
Yes. All right. Cool stuff, guys. We will continue this though. What? There's a chance I'll notify on the Discord if I'm going to be streaming again before the scheduled stream, which I think is Sunday. We'll get onto it on Sunday. I do want to try and make a couple small videos about these topics. We didn't even get to much of the interesting stuff. There was some really cool. So I'll give you a little teaser. So I found some really interesting stuff in the quarry, some areas in the limestone quarry that I hadn't been to, as well as in the pyramid, the Great Pyramid. We got some real interesting things to talk about in the Great Pyramid as well. So we'll get to that when we get to that when we're reviewing footage. But I shan't do this without doing it on stream unless I'm looking for something specific. But we'll come back to this on Sunday, and it's great to be back. Thank you guys so much for the support today. Everybody that tuned in, and particularly everybody that gifted the subs to everybody else or resubscribed with their own content or used their Prime subs or anything, whatever you have, it's much appreciated. If you have those Prime subs, remember to use them. You don't have to use them on me, but don't leave Bezos with his $5. Give that to somebody on Twitch, and then everyone on the YouTube channel, on the Uncharted X Live channel. Thanks so much for hanging out today. Sorry for the false start on YouTube, but I got it figured out eventually once I took it off private. So. We'll be back on Sunday. You guys enjoy yourself over the weekend. Be good. And we'll continue this. We'll do a bunch of streaming the next couple of weeks while I'm here, next 3 weeks. And back to Egypt. And then after that, back to work, Back here doing everything. So you guys, take it easy. It's great seeing everyone. And we will catch you in the next one on Sunday. I will talk about it in the Discord. Notify everyone there. If you can't, just do an ! Discord in the chat if you're looking for links to get into the Discord, and I'll notify on that. Otherwise, you guys enjoy yourself. See you in the next one now. All right, guys. Bye-bye now. Later.